everybody? Welcome to another episode, Flagrant 2. No easy buckets analysis by assholes. Water cooler commentary for your sports needs. This is a Patreon episode. We got a special guest in the building. We have a New York legend to be, the curator, along with others, but we're going to give you the credit right now, of what I think is the gem of New York comedy now. I think it is the only thing in New York comedy that represents us right now. Comic base, not necessarily club base. Obviously, there's the clubs, this other, which is Skankfest, and the owner and curator of one of the most potent podcast networks in New York as well. We have Louis J. Gomez with us here.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get Louis on this podcast for Louis. I don't know how long this is now.
I know. We are both very busy. It's difficult.
We're very busy, and you do a podcast with Michael Bisping, former middleweight champion, middleweight champion, called Believe You Me, which, and this is so typical of like the YouTube era. I have probably watched 100 clips of this podcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
That aren't even through your guys' fucking YouTube. It's like these other MMA channels.
Yeah.
Get your videos, post them. I've never listened to a full episode. I listen to hundreds of these clips on YouTube.
And that's why I leave those up. We don't take our copyright claims. Right? Do you know what we do though?
What's that?
This was the smartest shit ever. We started reaching out to the people who own those channels, and they put these clips because these are MMA channels that have massive followings.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, we won't take our copyright claims on you. All you got to do is leave in our ad reads. So then we get conversions off that. We can use that for.
That's great.
So you sometimes a clip will go viral and get 1 million hits. A lot of the time, I'd say 80% of them leave them in. 20% of them don't respond, and we still leave them up because fuck it, it's still people discovering the brand.
Dude,
but
it's tons of people talking. It's how I find about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there are a few guys that I'll click on for MMA stuff. It's you two. There's another guy. Bad Guy Inc.
Chael Sonnen. I knew you were going to say it. Yeah,
he's got a great setup.
Yeah.
And he's a great talker. Mm-hmm. He's very kind of like wrestling in his background, the way not like actual.
Do you know his background as a fighter?
Well, very vaguely. Right, I know his like Bellator days, like the.
Yeah. No. He used to be in the UFC. He has got the best story ever because he was sort of like. He was like I would say a middler for a long time. He got to the UFC, and he was somebody that a very tough, gritty wrestler who, just won a lot of fights, but it wasn't somebody that, people were really talking about. And then he ended up getting
the Silva fight.
He ended up talking his way into the Anderson Silva fight. Essentially, if you watch his shit talk, you could probably pull up highlights of Chael Sonnen, like his shit talking.
Yeah.
He straight up just took a page out of Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, like old school pro wrestling.
That's how I found out about him.
And he's funny,
like,
dude. And he was saying
so
racist
hilarious
shit, dude. He's telling a story about the first time he met the Nogueira brothers, and he's just being as serious as possible. He was like, he was like, we got off this bus. He was like, this is how dumb they are. He was like, Brazilians, they don't even know. He was like, they thought the bus was a horse. They were trying to feed a carrot to the bus. And I'm watching him. I was like, it's a bus. What are you guys? And it's one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm like, and this is an MMA fighter. And some of these guys, MMA is a beautiful sport because some of these guys, they have these really great personalities and they really go big. And, and I even the guys that sort of miss, I appreciate the effort. Like Colby Covington, who's a guy who's kind of cringy right now. And, but he's still trying to do this pro wrestling thing. He wears a Trump Make America Great hat, and he trolls people, and people are furious. I saw him going
into Whole Foods with his team
a
few weeks ago when they were at New York for the fight. And they were looking so fucking badass and like mean. But walking into Whole Foods, and I thought it was just the most hilarious juxtaposition. Like I think we kind of like recognize each other from whatever. Yeah. But it was like I couldn't put together Colby Covington and the Make America Great Again, that shit. So what I've heard about Colby is two things. One, when the act is gone, nicest guy.
I'm sure.
I bet all these guys are like
nicest fucking guy. Yeah. Two, I heard that he is a ex-WWE writer that puts together all of his stuff, and he has lines that he's like prepping before he goes on for these news conferences.
I would 100% believe
world,
it. And I have no problem. I respect it.
That's how you make money in this business.
But there's also other guys, because it's not every guy. Like, I don't think that Nate Diaz, when the cameras go off, he starts making eye contact.
Because he's already
he's a fucking psycho. That's who he is. And he's like, he's that thug from Stockton, California. And there are guys that are real. Michael Bisping is Michael Bisping on the show. He's Michael Bisping in the car. Like, that guy's very, very real and very funny. But you see, there's so many different personalities in the sport, and I think that it's kind of, in my opinion, why it's taken taken sort of the space as the number one combat sport. It's because the UFC took so much from the WWE, and they were like, wait a minute, we can put these guys sort of in the spotlight, and we can make stars. And I feel like there's not that many personalities in boxing.
We're watching chicks fight.
Yeah.
I
mean,
that is a headlining card.
With a 0% chance the titty's going to pop out. We all would watch chicks fight. I'll watch a chick fight.
Wendy's.
In the
Not in a ring.
I'll watch a chick fight all day long. You see some of them just tear their clothes off.
No, dude, the marketing is phenomenal. It's way better. And because it's part of one organization, much like WWE, you have so much more control of all these different fighters that you can prop up. Whereas in boxing, it's a complete fucking free-for-all. So it's not like the WBC can like brand guys that have some sort of like tournament.
I don't know the difference between the WBC, WBO.
They're all meaningless.
Who knows?
The linear, like even watching the Tyson Fury fight, it's like the linear heavyweight.
We don't know what that is.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just see a guy with a green belt. I'm assuming he's the guy.
It is the marketing leg of it is phenomenal, and it seems like the guys are starting to realize the buying power behind the story. Like we were talking about this on the episode. What was it? Today. Today's Tuesday, but this is coming out Friday, and we're talking about how skill is not as important as story. There is a fight that's coming up. Logan Paul. He's a YouTuber. You know him?
Yeah, I know.
And he's fighting this guy KSI.
It's a rematch, right?
Rematch. You know where they're fighting?
Where?
Staples Center. Yeah.
I
The
know.
fucking Staples Center. It's sold out. Staples Center.
The Fortnite World Championships was also at the Staples Center.
Yeah.
Shit.
Let's
go.
I know, it's nuts. The cheapest seats were $250. I was gonna go. I was gonna go because I play Fortnite, and I was straight up gonna go. But
it's story. It's what people are invested in. They don't really care how great your striking or jujitsu is. They care about how great your background is. Nate Diaz has a compelling background. He's gonna get people excited about a fight.
Story. It is the foundation of this sport. They created a sport, so I think because they're also the most respected brand. They're the Coca-Cola of MMA. That story in itself gives them validity. So it's just so it's different. What KSI and Logan Paul are doing, it's sort of in a category of itself. KSI and Logan Paul, if they were doing a rap battle, they could do it at the Staples Center.
But I think
if they were playing fucking thumb wrestling, they could do it at the Staples Center. Because their fan bases are going to just watch them compete against each other.
But for an individual fight to blow up, like any UFC fight I've heard about, it's because of a story behind it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's why 24/7 happened.
Yeah.
I heard of Conor McGregor because of his personality and that like story, personality, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and you get certain guys, they sort of have everything, right? That story is what, this is what makes them stars because it has to be a bunch of different factors. And it's sort of weird because you see, like, George St. Pierre wasn't necessarily the most exciting fighter in the world, but he became the most popular fighter in the world because he sort of had this, like, quality in him that people, he had an entire country behind him as well. But
the country helps. He was handsome.
He carried himself really well. Like, he kind of seemed like you could see him with, like, other athletes, and he'd be, like, the face of that brand, like kind of like John Jones for a second, where it was like, I don't really care how good of a fighter you are, but like I could see you wearing like Nike shit and doing those commercials.
No, it was also a different time because back then there wasn't social media the way it is now, so these guys weren't tweeting the way they are. They didn't have an opportunity to build a brand for themselves. So really back then, we're talking about when GSP was coming up 10 years ago, he became the biggest fighter ever. They had 2-3 minutes in the cage to have an interview with Joe Rogan after they win, and they create those moments, right? And or in a press conference or in an interview, there was very controlled moments. And George St. Pierre, there was a great moment where right before he got the title shot, he got down on his knees and begged. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. And he was like, Dana White, please give me the title shot. And like the crowd's like, people are crying. It's one of the most like just amazing moments. And like that was like, it's one of the things that stand out to me. It's not him fucking getting into a fight in a bar or like crashing his car into a telephone pole. It was sort of this very controlled thing.
It's like, we pay more attention to the negative shit, but the positive shit works as well.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, exactly. You're gonna have heel, and you're gonna have
promo, and he's the baby face.
It's pro wrestling, and most people play the heel. But I guess what you're saying is you can also play the good guy.
This
Of
guy,
course.
Dustin Poirier, right, has been like the sweetest guy post loss with Khabib. You know, Khabib obviously helps out the charity. And there's a perfect opportunity for him to be the good guy and then face him up against some heel that we all hate. And then we're all rooting for Dustin. If he wins, he wins. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I mean, like, you can sell positive fights. Fuck the Gaethje fight with the Cowboy this weekend. Like, that moment that they had afterwards.
Yeah.
Dude, that was super sweet. I was smiling, thinking about it, and my girl was like, "What are you smiling about?" Like, because she thought I was thinking about her or something. And she was like, "What are you over there smiling about?" Like, but it was this beautiful moment where like Gaethje was like, he wanted to keep going. Like, you could tell they fucking cared about each other, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's I think it's in a good
got very
space.
emotional because, like, you know, it's a guy who, you know, he doesn't have any ill will towards the guy who he likes, and then the referee didn't stop it, so he sort of got mad at the ref.
Cursed out the ref.
Yeah, he's like, dude, what are you doing? I'm hitting this guy in the head an extra 10 times because you can't just fucking stop the fight. It's done, right? Yeah, and that, dude, it's an amazing thing. It's why, in my opinion, it's the best sport in the world. It's like there's all of these different factors, and then on top of it, on top of the story, on top of everything else, these guys get into a cage and they fucking beat the shit out of each other. It's like, you know, I just think it's like the absolute, you know, the highest level of like competitiveness, the highest level, and it's not an original thought of my own. It might be like an old Joe Rogan thought, or even Dana White or one of these guys, but it's like, in all these sports, that aggression, they come onto the gridiron of football and they're like, and then they gotta go stand behind a line, fucking bend over.
What's
like, what are you doing? They want to kill each other. Kill each other, motherfuckers.
It's what is a sport is supposed to simulate war, and this is the closest you get.
This is as close to fighting as you can get.
It is fighting.
It is fighting.
It is
Well,
fighting. With
I can
a
grab your
few
balls and
rules.
fucking put my thumb in your eyeball. If I'm fighting you, I'm going to take this bottle, I'm going to hit you over the head.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
It's the closest.
It's the closest thing you can get
to the real deal.
Real deal,
Yeah.
you know, and, you know, with keeping it civilized. And, I mean, the reality is the
hardly.
fact that it is as popular as it's gotten, and, you know, you really look at just sort
It's
of the
civilized
trajectory.
within like man's rules of how to be civilized. You don't hit another guy in the balls. You don't whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't fight dirty.
But a guy is concussed on the ground, and you can hit him one more time.
Yeah, it's the one. It's
Right?
The one
Like,
sport
you get
that-
one more.
To a man, it's like,
do
well,
hit
you
him
gotta
one more
make sure
time.
you
And
win.
if the referee doesn't pull you off, you do hit him one more time.
have to.
That's
Dude's
the rule.
rules. Dude's rules are you got to win.
Yes.
You can't lose. So
Yeah.
if you got to hit him one more time, that sucks. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
These guys, there's something about it, you know, which I love. It's like they're. It reminds me when I was a kid. I remember there was a few times it was almost like we're gonna meet after school 3:30 in the parking lot, right?
Yeah.
And it's like there's this weird gentlemanly thing where I agree, I'm gonna fight you. You agree to fight me. We're gonna stand there.
It's a duel.
It's a duel. One of the guys go down, and that's that. You're like, all right, we've settled this. And you shake hands. This is me, my whole childhood. Every one of my friends, I got into some dumb fight like this with at one point, and then you're buddies again, and you weirdly got closer to them through that weird fucking thing. And I love that in MMA. And you watch it happen. You watch guys that are, you know, they talk all the shit in the world to each other, and they go to war and they try to kill each other in that cage. They leave it all on the line. Then at the end of it, they fucking break down and hug each other, and they have this beautiful moment because they legitimately went through. You know, that relationship is something that very few people in the world will ever experience. Going, you know, training and you know, obsessing over a person for 3 months and studying what they do, what they think, trying to get in their head. That's a whole other
No
level.
ego. It's like when your girl gives birth. It's like you watch your girl give birth, right? It's rare you get to see someone give maximum effort.
Yeah.
It's hard to not fucking respect someone who you've seen give maximum effort
Remember
in
we
life.
had Izzy on the show? Like, this is right after he just won the you know, interim title.
Yeah.
And he just had a fucking war with this guy. And we're asking him all these questions about, like, yo, just what's your mindset at this point? And you're looking at him and he's like, one, he was willing to die at that point, and he knows the guy the guy across their cage is willing to die also.
Yeah.
And like, it's a different respect. Like, you can't pretend. Like, there's no pretending.
And it's so
in
personal.
mixed
It's just
exactly.
it's a one-man sport, you know. It is a really personal thing, and I have so much respect. I did that dumb comedian fight for charity for LS Mania last year.
Yeah,
and
I love that.
I went
was
through
great.
that whole
I watched
process with Ryan O'Neal, and you know, it was
Dude,
it was
we need
really
to do-
humbling.
Wait a minute. We need to do one of those with the bloggers. We need to do a comic versus blogger
love it.
MMA match.
Oh, please.
Like
Sign me
9
the
fights.
fuck up.
I'll get in there.
That's the only
9
fight I can get
fights.
into where dudes are in my weight class.
Just me versus Sadie Doyle. Come on, bitch.
Yeah, genderless.
What? No, I see no gender.
There is
I
no
see no
gender.
gender,
We're
sorry.
binary. Wait a minute. This is great. That's how we solve it.
I love it.
If they win, write whatever the fuck you want. Keep on coming to the clubs with impunity. I remember I saw you tweet something that they came out to Skankfest.
Last night, somebody told me there was a New York Times reporter in Legion of Skanks last night.
They said after the fact?
A female comic that hit me up. She's like, yeah, they're asking questions about it. They said they were upstairs at the stand last night.
So put some context into this. So Legion of Skanks are the podcast that Lewis does with Big J, Dave Smith.
Yeah.
You
And
often have guests.
Yeah, we have a guest on, usually 1 to 2 guests every week, and it's
a live show that you do at the stand.
Yeah, we do it in front of an audience, and it's the most offensive podcast on earth. So we go hard, and we try to say fucked up shit, and so when Shane got in trouble for saying chink,
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
What? Do you have any idea what we're saying on these podcasts?
Man.
The conversations that I've had over the past 3 days of guys being like, well, it's over. Like, there's so many comics that are good people that are, so far from hateful or racist that they make dumb jokes like that.
Yeah.
We didn't realize how big podcasting was going to get. If you've been podcasting for a few years, you've said some dumb shit on a podcast that if they want to write it out of context on in an article and just a quote, you're going to look like you're a hateful piece of shit.
Yeah.
Do you think that Legion of Skanks has become the first stop for bloggers when someone gets something that they want to cancel?
No.
Do you think they're looking for episodes?
I don't think so, because I'll tell you why. We've never gotten really in any shit. Nobody's really gotten in shit for being on the show. What Shane got in trouble for was his own show. The shit that he said on our show, they ignored. The shit he said on Real Ass Podcast when he called Andrew Yang a Jew chink. That one really, that's one of my other podcasts.
Jesus Christ.
But Legion of Skanks, honestly, I think the reason we haven't gotten in trouble on that show, and we will eventually.
He's not Jewish though, is he? He's too giving.
That $1,000.
Yeah, remember ain't no Jews giving you no $1,000 a month, bro.
So, but yeah, we call it the most offensive podcast on earth, and I think because we
That's
call
what
it
Jews
that,
are offended by? $1,000 to whom? To everyone!
You know how much tuna on rye I could buy with that $1,000 a month?
Okay, so go on.
Jesus
But yeah,
Christ.
we package it as the most offensive podcast. So when people go there and people try to say something, like it's almost people roll their eyes. Do you remember that? You remember that movie they made, The Aristocrats?
Yes.
Years ago.
Yes.
And it was about an old, like, I guess an old joke they would do in the vaudeville days where they would.
That documentary.
Yeah, it was a documentary, and a bunch of comedians were in it, and they all did a different version of this joke. And essentially, the joke is a family walks into a talent agency, and then the family proceeds to do a bunch of really fucked up, vile shit in front of the talent agent, and then the talent
What do they
agent,
call the act?
The Aristocrats. That's the whole joke, right? And the whole idea is how fucked up can you be within the context of that joke, and how creative can you be, and how, and comics were telling it to each other and trying to like make each other laugh. And in my opinion, Legion of Skanks is a modern version of the Aristocrats. That's what our show is. We have a show where you come on and everybody comes on. We have major celebrities that are squeaky clean, that don't have personalities, that they get lost in the mix. They come into Legion of Skanks and then they're sitting there in the middle of a white power chant and they're like, I don't know how I got here. This is crazy. But
Jesus Christ.
the reality is, like, Big J, Dave Smith, the most loving, nicest people you'll
Great
meet.
guys.
Like, good people, good fathers would. If there was somebody that was being hurt,
Great
the first
guys.
guys to step up and say something.
Yeah.
They're not pussies. They're not like going to sit back and like tweet about it. Like, they're straight up fucking
Twitter,
dudes.
do your thing.
Yeah,
Fucking
if there was a
bullshit.
woman being hurt, or like if there was an Asian kid being attacked by some white supremacists, we'd be the guys who fucking jump in. Are you crazy?
That was smart of you to point at me because you're right. I would need that help.
You'd be the one getting beat up.
So yeah, 100%, great guys, and
But,
it is an interesting time where like you have these parasite bloggers that are really looking for looking for an excuse to cancel someone, right? To satisfy their own, lack of worth in the world. And there are these places where they can go. They can go to Legion of Skanks. They can go to Flagrant. They can go to these different places where we're clearly purposely pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
It is in the title. Legion of Skanks.
Yeah.
Right? Flagrant to, exactly what
Come
we're
town.
saying. Come town.
Yeah.
You know exactly the goal and purpose of this show.
Yeah.
But when you take something out of context, and the reality is, the three of us are not ubiquitous with comedy, right? It's not like every comedy fan or every person knows who we are. We're
Right.
still small enough where the average person doesn't know. So if they see something from that show, they're just like, oh, this is how this person talks all the time. Of
course.
They don't understand that the show is the intended purpose of triggering you.
Exactly, and that's the comedy that I grew up on. That brings it right to the line, goes right there.
Go past the
to
line.
me, it's not even
Fuck
fun
the
if you're
line.
not-
Well, here's the thing. That line, in my opinion, there's like this sweet spot where you get, as a comic, as entertainers, we're trying to make everyone laugh. The goal is to fucking crush it. The goal
Yeah.
is to fucking walk out with a standing ovation, right?
Yeah.
So, I think there's a sweet spot where it's right at the line, but you're going to go over that line in order to get there. It's like you're not going to fucking.
You're not betting 1,000.
Yeah, exactly. You're just not gonna. There's no way. It's impossible. And in order to kind of what Saturday Night Live firing Shane did was it just made an entire generation of comics go, no way, we're not even coming close to that line now. And it changed the infrastructure of the way young comedians are going to think. And it's going to take this generation in 10 years.
Yeah.
I think it really changes comedy in a bad way. I think a lot of young comics that are starting out now are just going to go like, we don't want to take any of those chances.
There are. If you watch young comics now, it's already. I saw this guy look like a complete. Like I would have thought this is a Long Island douchebag that I grew up with, and then he was just like complaining about why can't trans people use whatever restroom they want to, and blah blah blah. And it's like, bro, do you believe this? I don't think anybody you grew up with believes this.
Yeah, I think comedy was definitely going through a rough time. I see a little resurgence, and I think
I
the
would also say that.
resurgence comes from the fact that like people don't see their salvation in traditional media; they see it on their own. Right. And I think as comics start to look up to who they want to be and what type of career they want, and they start to see the Rogans of the world, the Gomez's of the world, the Burrs, the Schultzes, but like the people who have done it maybe outside of traditional media,
Right.
they'll start taking those steps.
I agree.
You and I, maybe when we first started, I mean, I never really cared to be on SNL, but it wasn't like I wasn't against it. Like I was like, that's what you do if you're a comic. You either get a sitcom, or you go on SNL, or you go on Mad TV, or
We all read that book by that chick.
Judy fucking Carter.
Judy Carter.
Comedy
where it was like-
Bible.
Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe I can get a job writing commercials.
Just have a job in comedy. It will help your brain develop these comedic skills. Whatever stupid shit that was,
Yeah,
right?
There was like 8 professions you could get, and now the internet exploded.
Now it's a free market, baby. If you want to do a podcast, you do it. If you want to be a fucking Vine star, you do it. But the people who are actually selling tickets, I think what we learned more than anything is we just want to sell tickets.
Yeah.
And does SNL sell tickets? Yeah, I think people in SNL are still going to sell tickets, but you can also sell tickets by having a fucking podcast.
I don't even know if it sells tickets, but it gets you in the clubs.
It sells tickets. If you're on SNL, you can sell tickets.
Fair. I don't know.
You're
what's
not
funny?
selling tickets.
You know what's funny?
Here's the thing. It's not a foregone conclusion. I compared it to getting into the UFC. It's like if you get on SNL, there's some guys that got on SNL that it didn't do shit. They came and went. We know guys that through the work.
Yes.
You hear about. You're like, wait, he was on SNL for 2 years in the 90s. You're like, what?
You gotta be on the show.
You gotta.
You can't be.
You gotta crush it. You gotta get to a certain level. You
even
gotta
then,
make
Tim
everyone like you.
Meadows.
They gotta write you into fucking
You need
sketches.
that 12 o'clock slot right before the music
Yep.
guest, or you need that first monologue right after the fucking
Standout
guest.
characters,
something,
break out something.
Yeah, it's like an MMA. It's like if you don't do with that opportunity the absolute most and you maximize the opportunity, you can just be a guy who got a couple fights in the UFC and failed out. Or if you kill it, that's it. That's a golden ticket. You're a former UFC fighter. You could open a gym just based off the fact that you fought in the UFC and you did well and you developed a name and it's who knows? I don't know if Shane. I think Shane would have had a rough time. I think a lot of those writers are really woke. A lot of those people on the show are really woke, and I think he would have had a rough time after all of this, negative press.
The funniest thing
was
to me is
watching-
this: is like it's SNL, right? And they are battling against Shane because he has said something offensive to Asians, right? But they're also celebrating the first Asian they've ever hired. So clearly, you have a history of not giving a fuck about Asians.
Yeah, I was watching.
How the fuck could you sit there and be like, listen, we can't do this. Representation is important, and you just hired your first
43 years later.
Dude,
or whatever
Jim Jeffries, were you watching that thing?
I was watching the David Spade thing with Jim Jeffries and Bill Burr yesterday, and he was like, you know, I thought comedy was supposed to be this, and it's like, what are you supposed to do? Go back and watch the old Michael Myers sketches where he's literally going like ching chong ching, like
dude, the John Belushi sketch where the whole thing is he's just a samurai. That's the only funny thing about the whole sketch. And this is not a show that's been sensitive. Yo, Charlemagne hits me last night. It's like 11 o'clock, right? And he goes, yo, you know Eddie Murphy's hosting SNL? I go, yeah. He goes, He goes, do you not remember Delirious?
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about the gay shit.
Yeah.
Remember the Chinese joke in Delirious?
Yeah.
The whole joke was, you know, you go to a Chinese restaurant and they come over there, what do you want? And the second they walk away, you're like, oi, oi, oi. And the whole, there's no punchline.
Everybody
The
laughs,
only joke is making fun of how they talk. And they're going to have him host. Granted, you're Eddie. You know, and
I will say, I hear this
different.
argument a lot, and people keep on bringing up the Belushi stuff, and it's like, it is just a way different time.
Of course,
it's just a way different time. So Shane said Chink on a podcast 3 months ago. It's different. It is different. It's, you know, it's just sort of hypocritical for
how much time is enough?
Here's my problem with SNL.
That gets to the question, right? How much time?
Here's my
a year?
problem.
2 years? 5 years? Like, what's the cutoff? And if it's 3 years, and what if somebody did it 2 years and 9 months ago? Then it's okay? I think the past is the past. So whether it's a day ago or whether it's 6 years ago, it's still the past.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm not going to scrutinize, you know, content that came out in 1970 because that was sort of the standard, you know. I'm just saying, in my opinion, that's not a great argument to go like, oh, well, what about Eddie Murphy and Delirious? You know, in 1980 he said this. It was very acceptable, that faggot bit, and at that time it wasn't cringy. When I listened to it the first time, it wasn't
now
cringy. It's
like,
cringy now. Doggy, I listen to the faggot bit where you go like, oh, and it's just, as in 37 years, I've just changed the way that I hear these words, and we're being sort of conditioned in a certain way to go like, oh. Right. And it's our job as comedians to kind of pivot
Still
and sidestep. Still hilarious. Eddie Murphy is one of the reasons I got into stand-up comedy. Those two specials, I saw them when I was a fucking child, like 7 years old. Yeah. Right. My mom let me watch Eddie Murphy, Andrew Dice Clay. This is the shit that I grew up on. I'm just saying that I think a better argument against SNL is the fact that they vetted him. They knew. They're pretty, like, oh, we should have done a better job vetting. No. Fuck off, dude. Really? Some blogger did a better job vetting than SNL? No. You knew he said some shit out there. You didn't realize exactly how much was out there and how big it was going to get. Yeah. But you fucked him because you guys should have vetted him, and you guys should have said, oh, you know what? We're not going to do this, because once he's canceled, I think there's this scarlet letter that he's going to have to work very hard for the next few years to have opportunities come up for him. And it's not about what he hears about himself losing. It's all the things that he never hears about it. Never, his name gets brought up and they go, you know what, let's just stay away from him for a little while, because, and yes, we can do everything ourselves, but at the same time, Shane's a guy who, he's just getting so much industry heat right now, had he not gotten that SNL opportunity, he would have just gotten a Netflix special or a sitcom or a pilot or whatever it is. Yeah. And they weren't. None of that. Now it's going to be really tough. Yeah.
This will be the best thing that possibly
Big J says crazy shit. He was just in the Hustler movie with Jennifer Lawrence. You can get on TV and in mainstream stuff still by saying crazy shit. There's certain brands that are super woke. SNL, the Daily Show. Mm-hmm. If you get on one of those shows, because now you're on this woke team, they hold you to that standard. It's what happened with Louis. Nobody would have given a fuck that Louis was a creep. Everyone knew Louis was a creep. Everyone knew that Louis jerked off in front of women and liked to do that. This was not a secret. Right. Yeah. And all those bitches that worked with him and that worked on that TV show, Horace and Pete, and toured with him, and then came out afterwards, fuck those bitches too, because they all knew it. They all knew what was going on. They took the opportunities, and the rumors were worse. They said the rumor was that Louis held the door closed and wouldn't let these girls go. Right. That was what everyone heard, and everyone still worked with him. Right? And then the truth came out, and the New York Times article came out, and it was like, oh, it turns out he was asking these chicks if he could jerk off in front of him and abusing his position of power. Right. And then they have the fucking nerve to come out against this guy. I have no idea how I got on that, but it makes me furious. The hypocrisy makes me fucking furious.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just think the SNL thing is indicative of a very changing industry, and I don't think Shane maybe realizes it now, but this is the best possible outcome for him, because if you do get on SNL and if things work out, your career is still not exactly in your hands.
No.
this is going to force him to put his career in his hands, and it will suck now, but 10 years from now, when he has control of every aspect of his career, he'll be so grateful that he never got put in that pipeline.
And he gets to be the funny that he wants to be, because we all know this. We've all done things. If you've ever put together a late night set, you give
least fun in comedy. I stopped doing it.
Me too. I stopped doing it.
I'd be depressed for fucking.
If I would have gotten late nights, I probably would keep on doing it. But I was doing it and never got booked. So
it's just so unfun.
It's not
like,
real. It's not work. Not into it.
You're walking up in front of a crowd of people, and then you're just turning into this character, and they're like, "That's not what's going on."
You're doing versions of your jokes that aren't what you want to say. You don't want to say those words.
Dude.
And then you have to. What you have to do when you do a late night set is you have to transcribe all your jokes. You have to send these videos into these bookers, and then these people who have never made anybody laugh ever in their entire lives scrutinize your jokes. And it's under this. And look, in a weird way, I respect the guys who do it, because that process, it's just a different thing. We talked about the Judy Carter book, right? It's like that's
a job.
That's a job that they choose to do. The Mark Normans, the Joe List, the guys that do these, Nate Bargatze, they do multiple late night sets. God bless them that they can go through that process and be inspired. Some of those guys, they love it. I can't.
Don't enable that. It's stupid. Don't enable it, dude. It's stupid. You're continuing to put your record out as a fucking album, like in vinyl. Like that's all it is. It's like they're not doing it because they love it. They're doing it because that's the only thing they know to do.
I think Nate legitimately thinks that way and loves it. I think when he writes,
he's not stupid. Nate is a smart guy, and also Nate doesn't have to change much for it, so it's not a big deal. If you don't have to change much to do late night, then fucking do it. But if you're one of these guys that has to,
clean. He's a clean
guy.
That's
thinks
what he
clean.
is.
That's who he is. It's easy. All right, I'll just take 5 minutes from my hour that I'm doing. I'll put it on late night. Easy. But if you're a guy who has to transform everything to do late night, you're putting all this work and effort into something that has this exact same reaction as just putting any one of your clips at the Cellar up on Instagram.
The only thing is,
that's the only thing you get out of it.
Way more. If we talked about doing this. Me and Ari talked about this a while ago. We should start fucking popping off stand-ups on the podcast. You can literally just invite a guy, like, come do 5 minutes. It's almost like it's better than a late night set. Legion of Skanks if you did 5 minutes of stand-up on Legion of Skanks to open up the show, you would get, 1,000 times the fans that you would get from doing a late night set. Easily. These people would stick with you for fucking life. They'd go to war for you. Right? So there's something to that, but there also is something to, whether it's internally, psychologically, subconsciously, but definitely externally to the industry and to clubs and bookers, getting those little things, Montreal Comedy
they're
Festival,
doing something. It doesn't do anything.
Netflix special.
But it's an antiquated feeling.
It's giving a dog a treat.
And the treat isn't even nutritious, dude. It's just, this is what
treat.
This is what, you know what it is? It's like, there's comics that like think if they went out and did a set at night that means that they were working.
Yeah.
You're not working.
No, it's not. Bobby Kelly said it best. He was like, "That's recess, bitch. That's not work.
That's the fun.
That is so much fun. It is the best. You go on stage, you kill, maybe get your dick sucked. That's it. Awesome.
Yeah,
what a great night that was.
The work is after, when you go over the whole set, find what tags you forgot to say. That's the work.
Yeah.
The stage is fun, but there are comics that go on stage.
Sitting at a meeting with people that you hate and pretending to like them. That's work.
That's the work.
That's fucking. It's a
How
nightmare.
do I get these fucking cameras ready? How do we improve the podcast? What's the new like all these different things is the work part of it, but people don't want to do the work. And they're fine when you just go up on stage. So it's a different thing. The reason why nobody pops off of the late night sets is because it's basically you're giving them 5 memes. And I think this is what a lot of comics don't get. It's like they'll get a lot of like views on clips and stuff, but they won't get any fans. And they're like, why am I not getting any fans? It's like, because the jokes you're putting out aren't anything to do with you.
They're not. Also, I'll take it further. The medium has nothing to do with you, bitch. You are a dancing monkey in that moment on late night. They are not a fan of yours. They're a fan of Jimmy Fallon's. They're not even a fan of Jimmy Fallon's. They're a fan of what NBC said in that time slot is the number one show that they should be watching.
You are a second option to music.
Yeah, that's it. It could have been some fucking pop singer just as easily. And honestly, the crowd would even be happier. They would have loved it to be a pop 100%. Singer instead of your dumb horseshit stand-up.
I'm going to say this too.
Growing
up when we didn't have all these options, I was a fan of comedy, and I'd be excited for stand-ups when they came on. I don't remember a single one.
Nope.
There wasn't one that I was like, that guy is somebody.
I'm going to follow him forever.
That guy.
What's funny is I do remember one. Ironically, Dana Gould, my sister, after she saw him do Conan for the first time, she was like, this guy Dana Gould is fucking incredible. And he's one of the guys that was trashing Shane. So
there are certain guys that can't transcend.
I watched Dana Gould. People are posting, I guess he has the trans joke and he's a 9/11 joke. So people are posting the jokes being like, yeah, dude, what about this? And I was like, like, yeah, dude. And I clicked on it. I was like, pretty funny. These
Great
jokes
joke.
are great.
I've heard a very good line.
Really good jokes.
But here's the thing, like, when you do late night, right, it's just 5 cookie cutter jokes, right? And I think what a lot of comics don't understand is, like, when people follow you, it's really no different than fighting or wrestling, right? You're following a story. You're following an actual person, right? They want to know your perspective about the world. And when you're doing a late night, it's often just jokes that could be a fucking meme. And if you're giving people memes, they will have the same reaction to a meme, which is, that was funny. Bye. I never remember the meme account. I don't remember the fucking page. I don't follow the page. I send it to my friends and then I'm gone. But when you hear someone say something poignant, and it can be funny, it can be serious, but you hear them say it, you want to be with them. When you see a fighter that for whatever reason has transcended just fighting, there's something about him that you want to follow, that should come out through the stand-up. And that's when you see guys throughout comedic history, they start to develop these followings. You see a Patrice have like a cult-like following. You're like, why? It's not just the jokes. It's Patrice comes through every joke.
And when you're talking about finding your voice, that's essentially what it is. You hear that when
your
you're a
voice
young
is
comic.
lost in jokes sometimes.
Dude.
Jokes can shroud a voice.
There's a moment that every comic was their funniest, and it was probably in the 7th grade. The funniest moment you ever had, right? It was probably in the 7th grade at a lunch table, and whatever that moment was, it was your fucking peak funniest. And it was like you had all your friends rolling. It was like, fuck, dude, you should be a comedian. Somebody says that at one point, right? But whatever that is, that real funniness, because it's not about writing jokes, it's not about getting on TV, it's not about getting late night or Saturday Night Live. It's just about making all your friends fucking laugh as hard as they can laugh. Yeah. That right there is what we are trying to capture and figure out as stand-ups.
Because
if you can bottle that
when
specific,
you're in 7th grade or whatever, you're just saying what you feel, right? Now when you get into comedy, I think a lot of guys are looking for a formula. And something happens with trans or something happens with Uber or something happens with Epstein, right? And they're going, what is the funniest take about Epstein? Not how do I feel about Epstein? And if you're a guy what's the funniest take? People will pass around your clips, but they won't follow you. Yeah. And they won't come out to see you, and they won't get a babysitter to see you, and they won't put on a nice outfit to see you, and they won't spend $100 before they leave the house just to go see you. If you're someone that speaks on how you feel, there's a reason why podcasters... there's a reason why you, outside of your latest special, you had no stand-up out. Yeah. Right? And people will go see you do fucking stand-up. Yeah. With no stand-up out. Yeah. Because they're invested in you.
Well, they are fans. They're not fans of Guy Code or they're not fans of SNL. They are fans. If they have come for Louis J. Gomez, they are here for me. Right. If somebody listens to the Real Ass podcast...
Yes.
I mean, they are legit, like, they're not, there's no other reason. It's not even like it's like I'm a fan of Big J. It's like that show is just me talking for the whole fucking time.
Excuse to be in the room with you.
Yeah, and also
that's the only way to be in the room with you.
This angle on sort of like being, I would say, emotionally connected to the words, the sort of essentially what you're describing and when I'm hearing it, and that's what I can't write a joke about shit that I don't give a fuck about. So I'm very narcissistic. It's always about how it affects me. Yeah. It's like it's gotta. Yes. So. You know, I'm sort of like I'm sorry, I kind of lost.
I'm not looking for the most clever take on.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I know
emotional connection.
I got you.
So there's a thing in sales, right? And I'm an old school salesman. I've had a lot of sales job in my life, but there's a saying in sales which is if they cry, they buy, right? And the idea is if you can get somebody fucking emotional in front of you, you can sell them whatever, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm selling cars, I'm talking about how this car's going to keep their kids safe and about how it's going to last 20 years. They're going to drop their kid off to college in this car. That's an old manipulative car salesman line, right? And people are like imagining their kid going to college and that. They're not even thinking in this moment. They're connecting this salesman's just fucking trying to upsell on the fucking radio right now, right? And that whole thing, I think that's what we're talking about is like the comics that we love and that you fall in love with, you have an emotional connection with whether it's the jokes, the content, the way they think, and with podcasters it's easier to have that emotional connection.
You know what it's like? There's great actors and then there's stars.
Yeah.
Denzel's probably a great actor, but I don't care if he's a better actor than whoever the best, Daniel Day-Lewis or somebody who's not as talented. But I want to see the star because there's something about that motherfucker inside that I'm just drawn to.
Yeah.
And with us, we get to speak on our personalities and whatever. But the skilled actor technician is like the joke writer in this case.
Yeah.
Like the guy who's really great at crafting a joke. Cool, you're really good at that. I'm not drawn to that. Like I'm drawn to this guy's fucking persona. Will Smith wasn't a great actor, but I'll see every fucking Will Smith movie because I'm drawn to him personally.
He has a magnetic personality. and it's a little different with us, obviously, because the joke has to come through our personality.
Right.
But I think, at least for me, the people I've always followed, like Burr has a through line with his jokes.
Yeah.
They represent Burr.
Functioning
Patrice
psycho.
always had this through line with his
It's
jokes.
always Patrice. Patrice could be sitting
Chris
there.
Rock always had this thing, right, where like he's speaking through himself, right? So it's like when I sit down and I hear an Epstein story or something like that, I can think of all the clever jokes that guys think about. I can think of the little one-liners. It happens, and I'm going through like, that's an interesting take, but it's not my take.
I literally can't even write it down. I tweet it maybe. I'm like, oh, that's for Twitter. All right,
yes,
I got it.
because
but
it's,
I can't.
wait, but go, you're onto it.
Yeah.
because it's frivolous, like a tweet. And if your comedy is frivolous, so will your fan base be. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
If they know
That's a
you're
bar.
not
That's a
attached,
bar.
if they know you're not attached
That's
to
a
the
bar.
fucking bit,
Yeah.
they'll just scroll right through. And when you come to their city, they'll scroll right through again. But when they know that you're attached to the bit, even if you're going through something like edgy or fucked up, it doesn't mean like every single joke is truth, but it is attached to your perspective.
Yeah.
Then they're like, oh no, this happened? I gotta see what he's gonna say about that.
Well, this is ultimately why I think Shane will be fine. It's because the amount of emotion that this whole thing is drummed up. It's like now anybody who's a fan of Shane's is like a fucking ride or die. It's like,
also
we're gonna
gained
go
a lot of fans.
No, that's what I'm
Because-
saying.
yeah.
He gained so many fans, and all those fans are coming from a place of emotion. People are arguing online back and forth. I watched it happen when Louis came to Skankfest. The amount of people that are pissed off that Louis came to Skankfest. Good job, idiots. Over 10 million impressions.
Yeah.
Skankfest NYC. Didn't pay a dime for any social media marketing. Same weekend was Clusterfest. We did the analysis. We had about 90% of the social media impressions that they had, and they paid, hundreds of thousands of dollars to fucking be on. Yeah, to be on the trending things and all that. So these idiots, they don't realize because they get emotional, all they do is they just drum up a conversation, and it's
Tommy
a volley
Lahren.
back and forth.
That's how Tommy Lahren got famous.
It's fucking beautiful. I would marry
the
her. I'd
trickiest
marry her
thing-
tomorrow. She's so hot. I don't give a fuck about her opinions.
Why would you? She's a woman.
You're gonna start giving a fuck about your girl's opinions?
I go shooting. I'll vote for Trump. Sure, whatever. You want to vote for Trump? You'll suck my dick? Of course.
Did you guys see that? There was this meme going, or not meme, there was some GIF or whatever going around, a little video of like all these white girls in a room twerking.
Yeah, so
And there's all these black dudes on Twitter going, this is what hell looks like. If you don't shut the fuck up, like you don't fuck white girls
Wait,
every
what?
chance you
That's
get.
what hell looks like?
Dude, did you see that?
A bunch of white girls twerking?
Yeah, it looked like an assembly
outta here.
line. It was kind of off rhythm.
Maybe they thought it was a bunch of white
Y'all
girls.
give a fuck.
Yeah.
Stop fronting.
Nah, it's
Any
just-
one of those girls offers you some pussy, you taking it, bro.
I'll tell you,
It
hell, was a
wasn't
bunch
really
of
that attractive, to be honest. I'll be honest, bro. I'll be honest. We was just talking like Chloe Moretz or whatever, like that bitch. Like she looked a lot better there than that fucking video we seen with a bunch
one?
of flatback girls. The video you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of girls, flatbacks, no ass. Like not
Like y'all
every-
care
see,
about
I'll be
white
the
girls'
judge.
bodies.
It's
Like all of a sudden, black dudes care about
Yeah.
white girls' bodies.
Gotta have a little
They
meat
these
on the bone.
fat
You know
ass
the problem-
fucking
you know the problem was?
jalapeno body bitches for fucking years, and all
Problem
of a sudden,
was-
Problem was they're in a
about
gym
white
class. That's why they're losing weight out here.
They're too skinny. We need to look them look like duffel bags. That's how you want them.
Bruh, they just
Hell is not girls twerking, it's girls talking. That's a room full of girls talking. White girls talking
Just
is my
opinions.
hell.
Well,
Yo.
what I think is just over and over again.
Oh, is this it?
You have all those women stand up and open their mouths? Now that's hell.
This is what hell looks like?
It ain't really for me, but
Dude,
like,
that one was looking all right.
They all look great. Every
you
one
can
of
find
them.
some
It's
good
fucking
ones.
I'd fuck.
horseshit.
Do you know some of the women that I fucked what they look like? Are you crazy?
No, it's just black men are petrified of black women on Twitter, so they gotta tweet
they're-
shit like
that
this
is their
out.
virtue signaling.
Yeah,
They're virtue
this is their
signaling for their
virtue
black
signal.
chicks. Yeah.
Exactly. This is their trans bathrooms.
Nah, this just isn't.
No, you're right. It's awful.
Alex, say something,
hell.
bro. Like,
Nah,
Guys,
Alex
I
not
ain't
the
with you.
one.
I'm fucking up.
I can literally jerk off to this video. This is hot.
Phenomenal.
It's
Phenomenal.
undeniably just hot. There's no.
This one right here, right there.
Look at her.
There's such
Come
a
on
lack
now.
of ass in this video.
Her ass
bruh.
sucks. You're right.
Like,
Because of her, she's
what
in
you mean, who
shape.
cares?
She
I'm a
got
man who
abs.
likes ass, bro. It's just a lot of flat, moving asses, bro.
They getting it too.
Look at that.
There's a couple sprinkled in
Oh,
there.
now
but
we're
like,
coming around. Now
Right
we're
there.
coming
Look at
around.
her. Look at
By
her.
large, yeah, she a little thick.
that's a Kaz
What?
joint
Thick.
for sure.
Yeah, she got some-
She's almost fat in my
got
mind.
some
What is
meat on
wrong with you?
There's a good one right there.
That's a Kaz
Hell.
fine joint.
That's a good
This is
one.
what hell looked like.
That's a good one.
I couldn't believe this
Listen,
nonsense.
that ratio is rough, though.
Who gives a fuck? How many are you gonna have sex with?
Are they tagged?
Okay.
Twerk City, USA.
That's great.
Anyway, interesting
I've
time. Interesting. I think Shane will be okay. I think the trickiest thing for Shane is that most people only know about him that clip.
Yeah.
And I think that's the toughest thing for him. And that's
Because
what I was
the clip's
trying to
not
tell
funny?
him is, it's like it's different when you're like a fucking, like these like Jordan Peterson types come out, right? Or like a Ben Shapiro types, whatever, where they come out with a point of view that is heavily scrutinized, but there's so many people agree with the point of view. They're like, finally, someone's speaking for me. You have a situation where no one agrees with your point of view, no one finds it funny, and
I'd say it wasn't
nobody
unfunny.
thought the clip
I
was
thought it was
funny.
kind of funny. The Neuters clip, I also thought it was kind of funny.
Neuter was funny.
Yeah.
Neuter was funny.
What,
But-
when he said Andrew Yang was a Jew chink?
No, that was
that's
funny.
funny.
It was hilarious.
No.
Also,
Wait,
when
he said that
they
too?
were they were trying to write it up, and at one point they were just like quoting like random things
We're
that
talking
he was
about the
saying.
video.
We're
though.
talking about
of
the video
podcast
most people know of
wasn't
the podcast.
funny, and I wanted to like
The
it.
video
It wasn't strong.
Matt and Shane's podcast. The Neuters video.
Yeah. So, and okay, you've seen Shane stand up.
Yeah.
If you were to rank the stand up and the video, would you say they were equivalent, or Shane stand up's way
No,
better?
that wasn't that wasn't even a funny moment from the podcast,
That's-
really.
that's
but
what-
I'm just
that's
saying,
my point.
I laughed. I'm just saying my opinion. It made me laugh when they kept on saying neuters. Whatever.
Of course, I'm not dying on the hill for that. Funny.
No, but here's what I'm dying
Shane's
on the hill
stand-up
for.
is really funny. So my point is, right now you have all these eyes on you, and you're actually really funny.
Yeah.
So this is the moment where you let motherfuckers know you're funny. You don't have to go out and preach or anything like that. It's just raw funny.
He should be putting out some videos right now.
That's
Now's the time,
because
yeah.
everybody's gonna look and they're gonna look on the same thing like, this motherfucker ain't shit.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna watch it back.
Also-
Wait, he's actually funny. Oh, SNL fucked up.
My-
You could literally make everybody right now go, SNL fucked up if you put out the funny clip or a funny sketch. If I'm him, I'm doing a tour of Chinatown. I'm literally going around doing
Dude, Big J had the
satirical tour.
funniest idea. He was like, what he should have tweeted was, and it would have been the fucking best. He should have been like, hey guys, really enjoying the view from my new office here at 30 Rock. Oh wait, hold on, they're knocking on my door. I'll be right back.
Well, here's what I'm also going to say. He's also got millions of people who we might not agree with or whatever, but who are going to be so outraged that he got fired that they want to love Shane. Right? They're going to be people like, oh, he's not funny, he's racist, and you can prove them wrong. But there's also going to be people like, fuck that. How you firing this guy? Because whatever.
Yeah.
They're probably a little racist. They're looking to love Shane. So he might not love that fan base off jump, but they're going to watch those videos wanting to like him.
I don't know how many people are racist and going like, finally, our opinion is being represented. I'm going to start buying that guy's records.
No, I don't think they're saying that, but they're just
No,
like...
he's talking about the people who defend comedy. And
Yeah.
they're not going to be defending racism. They're going to be defending the comedy. And they're going to be looking for the latest comedy casualty. And because what happens in a time like this, right, is nobody really cares about Shane, unfortunately. They're both using him, right? Like the comedy purists, or is it, like, you obviously care. I obviously care.
Yeah.
But the majority of people tweeting, the comedy purists are using him as the latest martyr to represent their own cause, right? They're like, comics are being canceled. Look at this
Yeah.
guy Shane. And then 2 weeks from now, they won't care about Shane. They're not going to ask Shane to come on the road
It's just
with them.
another thing to tweet about. Whatever the hashtag of the day was going to be, they're tweeting
And
about
the
that,
PC
and they're
people are
injecting
going to
their
shit on
opinion,
him,
of
right?
course.
That's all it is, right? So what I'm saying is, in this time where you actually have the attention of both, put out some content that proves you're funny, because then you can keep some of those eyeballs, because those eyeballs are gone. Football's going to come out Sunday. Nobody's going to care. We forgot that Epstein was killed in a jail cell. Nobody gives a
Nobody
fuck
cares
anymore.
It's over.
Trust me, we're not going to
No.
be
Well, this is why I
concerned
thought
with this.
my SNL might have not buckled, because all they had to do was get to Wednesday.
Yeah.
I was hoping they wouldn't.
Just get to Wednesday, bitch. Ignore it. I promise you, if you don't give them what they want,
Why do you think they buckled?
they move on. I think they probably had more stuff. If I had to guess, I think that they were like they did their due diligence.
Then they did the real
They
research, and it was like,
dug, and they
oh,
were like,
shit.
oh shit, because that wasn't shit.
Yeah.
That was nothing.
Dude, Shane needs to fly to Hong Kong and go with the protesters.
That's so
and,
funny.
And lead that protest.
He's sitting down with Andrew Yang on Thursday.
Really?
Andrew Yang had a tweet that's like, we can't just cancel everybody.
Yeah.
defended him.
And then
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
on CNN. He defended him as well. He was like, "Look, he's a comedian. You got a whole comedians who are different center. They're trying to be funny. Duh."
If
the
anybody-
most logical thing, by the way, the way
He
that
got my vote,
90% of the
son. I'll
people
vote
in
for
the
this
world
motherfucker right now,
feel
bro.
He thinks
that
way too logical to be
it
president.
is like
No, but
that's
Yang
how
is
people
smart
feel.
because he wants some of the Trumpers. But if there's
That's
anybody,
exactly what it is, though. It's an angle.
wants
But
the
I
Trumpers.
respect that.
You gotta win those people over if you're trying to.
oh,
become
if you want to
president.
win, you gotta cross the
Yeah.
aisle a little bit. But if there's anybody who needs the $1,000 now, like Shane, that should be Shane's opening line.
Yeah.
Be funny.
Yeah.
He should do it on video, like, and do a sit down and
giving him the 1,000.
Or he should go to like a racial sensitivity training course with Andrew Yang. Like, you could do something really funny with it. I don't know. I have no idea. I didn't talk to Shane about what they're going to do, but I think they're sitting down this week, which is fucking crazy.
I love it. But that's great as long as it's funny. If it's like a serious talk, fuck that. It's like, remember when Trump had his hair rubbed by Fallon? Was it Fallon?
Yeah, it was Fallon.
Right? And in that moment, he became, I don't know, friendly, self-deprecating, normal. He was just normal. And there was value to that. And that's the moment you need with Yang. Yang has to do something to you or achieve something with you.
For that too.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because Fallon is going to do whatever Fallon does. But Trump got to use it. Yeah. And to be honest, Yang is using Shane, so Shane should use.
And Yang really don't have anything to lose. Fallon was number 1. Yang number 12 or whatever. You know what I mean? Yang can only ascend.
Yeah. Yes, and Yang is smart for doing it, but that's another thing. Shane should be careful because Yang could completely throw him under the bus. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Like under the rickshaw?
They're all under the rickshaw.
They got rickshaws in China? I think that's our shit.
Oh, is it?
They have rickshaws in China for sure. For sure they got rickshaws.
Anyway.
Shane will be fine. He'll be fine. People will get his back. People continue to get his back. Great comics are getting his back. Norm Macdonald publicly tweeting. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just a fan of comedy and just watching it. Like, I've always said, like, this is a great time for stand-up comedy because as a fan, you never want to be on that side of history where people are like, oh yeah, remember that thing that was real controversial and nobody liked? That was great. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody thinks like that. Everybody always remembers the shit that was like, yo, that shit really, like, I remember the first time I watched South Park, I was like, holy shit, you could say shit on TV.
It was crazy.
Like,
South
Park.
God,
you could do fucking
South Park's the greatest,
like,
South Park's
and all this because it's how stupid people are.
Yeah.
Because they do with their cartoon characters, people are going, okay, I
it's
guess
not
they
real.
can get away with it.
Yeah.
It's the most, it's just psychotic. It's fucking, so if you were to
Brilliant,
animate Shane's thing, if you were just to animate it and put it out as an animated clip, it wouldn't have been a problem.
It would be hilarious.
For 20 years.
Son, Cartman talking about neuters?
Dude, I mean, they have a whole shitty walk is a whole character.
Shitty walk, yeah.
Dude, it's so funny.
Bring them the shitty wall.
Dude,
like, yo,
what is that play that the South Park people did? I want
Book of Mormon.
Book of Mormon.
Dude, the Book of Mormon.
It's incredible.
I watched it.
It's incredible. I saw it twice.
Okay, so I'm watching it, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. But after watching it, I go, oh, you're either in the crowd and say whatever you want, or you're on the outside and then they cancel you. Because one of the first big pops of a joke in that entire play is about the way you get rid of AIDS is by fucking a baby.
Yeah.
It is a baby fucking joke.
It's awesome.
In a theater play, and has never once been canceled. They never once tweeted about it.
I saw it 7 years ago the first time, or 6 years ago, and then I saw it again like 6 months ago. The crowd was way more uncomfortable.
Really?
I don't know if I can't say that it's they were. It was definitely like, I remember the play killed the first time I saw it, and there was certain moments they were like, "Whoa!"
Damn.
Like, you know, I mean, they go far, but it could have just been a shitty crowd.
And they've also built the brand, and that's something. Once you establish this is who we are, South Park for 20 years has been the people that's going to always be offensive and always be there. So it's like, you walk in the Book of Mormon, you know what the fuck you're getting.
The nigger guy episode of South Park is crazy. It's
just
straight up fucking crazy.
God damn, I love that episode.
Who is it? Kyle's dad or Stan's dad?
Stan's dad. Wheel of Fortune.
Oh my god, that shit is so funny.
People that annoy you.
Have you seen this?
It's Wheel of Fortune.
Don't even pull the scene up.
Oh
Andrew.
my gosh.
Andrew.
You've never seen this episode?
Andrew.
No. It's the best, yo.
Doggy, this is like straight at 10 o'clock Comedy Central.
Oh, it's
dude,
so goddamn good,
fucking
dude.
nuts.
So,
watch this. Yeah,
you gotta watch it, dude, because it is the most offensive angle on it. The whole thing is fucking. It's just great.
Can you have the audio come through so we can hear it?
Yeah, you can just play the audio. Audio's fine.
No, play the video too. We're on Patreon.
How long is the whole thing? It's like 32 seconds. Yeah, play the whole thing.
Oh, dude, it's so fucking funny.
I'm laughing already.
So, you know, Wheel of Fortune.
I have seen this.
Yeah.
So, real quick, to set it up, you know, Wheel of Fortune, the final game, if you've ever watched it, I did when I was a kid, I was a dork. The final puzzle, yeah, you can.
And you pick 4 consonants and a vowel,
and then every blanket's filled except one on this final puzzle.
Yeah.
And the clue is people who annoy you.
So the clue is people you know you. So far, the last 3 letters are ERS.
Is people who annoy you.
And it's N_GGERS.
There's one letter.
People who annoy you. Look at Stan's dad. Look at the crowd. Look at his face.
It was like a.
Well, 10 seconds. I know it, but I don't think I'd like to solve the puzzle.
What's his face?
Huh?
Naggers. It's one of the fucking most brilliant.
The whole episode.
He's nigger guy the whole episode.
Nigger, yeah.
It's the best, dude.
How do you think those people in Chinatown would have solved that puzzle?
Oh my god! I mean,
How confusing would it have been when they picked R as a letter on Wheel of Fortune?
No, I said R.
Oh my gosh.
dude, that's one of the funniest things ever. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. You would try to not like.
Nobody's Nagger. It's a man in the car.
I mean, nobody's
Oh my
clicking
God.
on Matt and Shane's Secret podcast unless you go and take it and put it on some blog and go be angry about this. It's like, it's a podcast. You have to click play. Just don't click play. If you don't want to hear offensive jokes, if you don't want to watch South Park, don't click play. It's sort of, yeah, dude, it's a crazy mentality that people have. But, you know, I mean, that's really it, dude. Write cartoons. That's the way you get away with shit, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question. What do you think happens with the New York Times snitch?
I don't know.
Actually, fuck that.
I don't know that.
Do you think that do you think it gets to the point where, what's that kid's name who exposed the Shane thing?
Seth Simon?
Yeah. Nobody slapped this kid up yet? Nobody?
I feel it's a
He
very
walks around open mics and shit in LA with impunity?
doggy. I'm not saying that somebody should hurt this man.
Well, we kind of already did. So.
I'm just saying, if somebody smacked this cat, nobody would have a problem with you, right?
I mean, we said it was.
I am shocked. Let me tell you something. I am fucking shocked. As organized as the West Coast comedy scene is, as much as everybody knows, and is supportive. This is a very supportive comedy scene.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one at least G-checked him.
Yeah.
You don't have to beat him up.
I would have a hard time not getting in his face and making him look like a bitch.
Fam.
I would have a hard time. If I saw him, I have a hard time not going like, I was just sitting next to him being like, all right, let's talk.
Yeah.
And just making him shake. Because he's not that guy. He's not going to come for some fucking heat. He's going to sit there and take it. But I would literally, if he had a girl with him, I would make sure she didn't fuck him ever again. Like, I would really make him fucking feel like the bitch
how
that
has
he
this
is.
not happened? Listen, if he's not in comedy at all, that's one thing.
That's the guy?
This guy right here. This guy right here. But this guy right here.
Spoken bird.
Click this.
But you understand, like, this motherfucker,
comedy.
everything he does, his whole world is trying to get people canceled. He writes things about SNL every week. You see on his thing, just constantly bringing up new things.
So how has he not been snuffed? I don't really care to defend SNL, to be honest with you, but I just don't understand how a comic has not addressed him personally. Maybe not beat him up, but there haven't been a moment where he realized that there's a repercussion for your actions. Do we have his stand-up?
Because comics are pussies, dog. You understand?
Most of them, but there's a couple. There's a couple that will have a conversation.
Yeah.
Let's see if this guy's funny.
Do we have some audio? Yeah. But it's on Patreon.
Cancel this motherfucker.
How many views does this have?
Eagle. Thank you. That last one was a mockingbird imitating an eagle. God bless America.
That's like
I hate
30.
him.
That's 34 seconds. I'll never get.
I hate
back.
him so much. I just hate. Like, I hate comics. Is he actually a comic?
Son.
He's only got 6,000 followers. What is he getting out of this?
I hate comics that
Does he make
trash
money off
other
of this?
comics. If you're going after a comic for fucking jokes, you're just the lowest form of fucking life. Period. You're not a comic. That's it. Period. It doesn't matter. That's the line. You're on the other side. Okay. I don't give a fuck even if you're funny. Fuck you, Dana Gould.
You know what's
funny?
funny?
It's like, no, look, Dana Gould, honestly, brilliant comic. Go fuck yourself. You're not one of us. You're one of them. You're that guy now. You are on that team.
I agree.
The line has been drawn. There's this side of funny. I did an interview with the Hollywood Reporter about cancel culture and all this stuff, right? And he was like, yeah, it seems like there's like a line being drawn in comedy, and one side is really like inclusive and open-minded, and the other side is almost like this alt-right. I was like, no.
We're the inclusive.
We're the inclusive side.
We're the open-minded.
I was like, we are the ones who are including everybody, that wants everybody to fucking be included. We're not trying to cancel people. Comedy, diversity in comedy is not the color of your skin.
It is your
you
thoughts.
morons. Yes, it's the way you think and the way you create and the different projects you work on, the podcast, the stand-up, the sketches, the fucking blog, whatever it is, creating content that the end result is thousands or millions of people get to fucking forget their bullshit for a minute and laugh. And it's such a positive, beautiful thing. It's an amazing thing.
That was always the point of comedy.
It is. It hasn't
the world
changed.
is fucking crazy.
These people...
Give me an hour to just forget about that shit.
I don't want to think about my life. And then, honestly, if you trigger them, most people, 99% of people that are triggered by a comedian are triggered in a positive way. They're triggered to laugh because they look at their own life and go, you know what? I think the same way. Or I don't think that, oh my God, he said that. I can't believe that. Holy shit. My dad thinks like that. That's nuts. It's all positive.
Yeah.
These guys have created nothing ever. The only time they've gotten those endorphins that we get from creating a joke or getting an audience to laugh at us and tell it, and that feeling that we get, the only time they get that feeling is when they try to tear somebody down and they get some retweets and that's it. So I understand it. I'm addicted to that feeling. I love feeling like I've done something and I've actually put some work in and I get to look at my, the end result of that. This is the only time they get that, ever. And it's fucking garbage. And what I'm doing and what you're doing, we're all doing, is something really positive and beautiful. And we're trying to make everybody have a great time regardless of their skin color, sexual orientation. It doesn't matter. They got a dick, a pussy, if it's made into a fucking pussy from a dick, it doesn't matter.
I love you enough to make fun of you.
That's it.
Exactly.
You family, dog. You family.
Chappelle said that shit in a bit. He was like, the reason why I make fun of people is because I see a little bit of myself in them.
Yeah.
So it's like it makes it more empathetic, I guess. So
yeah, if I don't like somebody, I'm not trying to bust their balls and laugh with them.
Like this guy, I'll never look for his shit. I just watched those 34 seconds. I'm like, I'm never gonna look for any of his shit ever again. I didn't get what he was doing.
What's funny is his pinned tweet was for unionizing comedy theater or something like that, and it's like, bro, you don't know nothing about unity. What union are you having? You are literally dividing everything in comedy.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I know you guys feel a lot stronger because obviously you're in this deeper as comics, but like just as a fan, like a lot of times, especially when some fucking super offensive thing happens and people are really triggered by the shit, I'm just like, all right, let me go to the people who should actually have a right to be upset about it and see what they think. And 90% of the time, they're the ones that are laughing the hardest. Like the trans jokes with Chappelle, the fucking Caitlyn Jenner shit with Blake Griffin, and like all this other shit. It's like, all right, the people that should be offended aren't that offended.
Oh, that Caitlyn Jenner.
The nigger guy joke. One of the funniest episodes of South Park
so
ever.
Funny.
And I'm like, yo, if you're one of those guys that are like, oh my God, he said that. I'm like, dog, like it's comedy.
You don't get it. You don't get it. And if you think that, look, I just think the best artists should be able to create.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like those South Park guys, let them play. Let them paint with whatever colors they want to paint with. Don't take colors out.
Episodes that are bricks. You just
Go ahead, sir.
Right side back lever. I've done this many times.
Hey now. I don't know what the fuck happened there. There we go.
Give it a little.
Now it's falling. It's going back now.
You got to get up.
Leave it, guys. Don't touch it.
It's fine. You're good.
We're fine. We're all good.
You know what? I'll join you.
Thank you. There we go.
Out of the shot.
Am I in the shot still?
Okay, good. This is funny. It is a peculiar thing. You want to let people just create. And look, it's not like there's this weird thing where comics. It's not like it's like we can't acknowledge that people get offended and people are hurt by things.
Yeah.
The fact
It's
that you
just
make
not,
fun of it.
That's not
I'm
our
saying my comedy is
intended
not
goal.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it. It's intent over interpretation,
Yeah.
right? The intent of Shane's saying that was not how can I make Asians feel as horrible as they possibly can about
It
themselves.
was to make white people feel as good as possible about themselves. By comparison. Duh.
That's what podcasting's for.
White people to feel good about themselves.
We tried to make radio without anyone else, and then you butted yourselves into it.
It's kind of funny. That is kind of even liberal podcasts are just white people making themselves feel good about
Brown
being
people will
white.
never figure out what an RSS feed is. It ain't happening, doggy.
Actually, RSS is just racist.
That's just racist. That's hilarious. That's why black people don't listen to their podcasts. They think an RSS feed is racist. That's hilarious. They should tweet that. That's so fucking
Dude, that's
funny,
what
dude.
RSS is. NPR, same shit, man. All stuff for us. Okay? Then you butt your fucking selves into it.
Yeah.
Whatever. Free Shane. We'll see what happens with comedy. I have a very optimistic view of comedy. I think comedy's on the rise. I think comedy, we're about to be in like a golden age. Of
My problem is, and yes, I think there's these guys like you, and me and Andrew have been fucking talking business since we started comedy.
This
dude.
may be 10 years in.
Yeah, dude,
Lewis and I have had a friendship that is. I always thought that you were very industrious, and I thought you were a hustler. And I think there's so few hustlers in this business that I really appreciate. I think we all end up gravitating towards each other.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like I
That was it.
appreciate somebody
we
who
always
goes for
pick
it.
each other's brains
Always.
and whatever it is, So
I just tried to support as much as I possibly can.
my problem with because yes, I think we have another 10 to 20 years of being able to create. For the most part, there's going to be obstacles, but they're going to come after the RSS feeds.
Of course.
Yeah.
They already have the technology. They can right now they have the technology to look for all the no words on iTunes and say anything that has these words, the 7 words you can't say on iTunes, that'll be the new bit, right? You're done. You're demonetized. You're off the platform. You're not allowed to be here. You're kicked off. That's a whole thing. Deplatforming is a whole.
You want to know the future, bro?
What?
This is the future. And I know it's going to sound crazy, but I think this is where it's gone. We will upload everything to Pornhub.
Yeah.
I mean that 100% seriously.
I'm trying
anything.
to partner with a porn company to take over our back end app website. I mean, these companies, number
Porn
one,
runs tech.
Porn is always first to market.
First to market with tech.
We
Yeah,
met with a company already. Because
You're already on it then.
We create content, and we're not a tech company. Gas Digital is judged as a tech company, whereas we're not. We're content creators. We create podcasts. We work with podcasters. But now we're being judged on an app. We're being judged on a website. So when there's a tech issue with your app or website, Google has 100,000, developers on site ready to fucking fix a problem in a moment. We gotta wait till 3 a.m. to call our developer in Sri Lanka so we can fucking get one piece of the website done. Then we gotta wait till 9 a.m. because the other developer's in Denmark.
It takes time.
And it's a different thing, and that's where that's why smaller companies like mine. It's a tricky thing, and it's way
you're
more.
You're competing with the billionaires, and it's tough. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is simply based on cancellation. YouTube might be able to cancel you. Facebook can cancel you. Instagram can cancel you because of your content. Pornhub is never going to say, this is a little too much.
Is Pornhub allowing podcasters to upload right now?
Everybody can upload whatever they want on Pornhub.
They have individual creator channels.
Individual creator channels. So this is my assumption. And this is what I would do for our protection. I haven't spoken about this. Is the first time I talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's just because I fuck with you. But I think just because I want us to have that salvation. I think if we feel the squeeze from YouTube and all these other places, it could go towards a squeeze, or they could go open up
Can
and
you live
say,
stream on Pornhub?
I would not be surprised if you could. I'm not sure.
I think
But
you can.
I think
You probably can.
I'm sure you can.
verified users.
I'm sure you
have,
can.
like,
But the
live
point
shows
is,
and shit.
if you're
No,
having
that's
like
all I
a
know
mom fuck her son, right, and there's a video of it, you're not going to get upset at somebody saying a derogatory word.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I bet
There's
you
a
tons
category.
of
Dude,
white
there's
bitches
a
getting fucked by
whole-
black dudes saying
yeah.
the N-word, right? So it's like
100%.
So if that exists there, you're not going
My
to be
dick
upset
just
at our
moved, by the way.
content.
It's a solid category of porn.
Bring back
boys.
the twerking videos. So if we start uploading shit there, they're not going to have any moral constraints, and people are already on it. All of a sudden, Pornhub just becomes the biggest search engine in the world,
Yeah,
where you can watch your porn, you can watch your podcast, you can watch whatever you need.
And then anytime we're talking about porn, you can tag it into those things, and people are there. It'll come up in their things. We talk about porn a lot on Legion of Skank. I literally might just start doing that tomorrow.
Son, it is a great back channel. It's a great back channel. Safety.
YouTube. We got kicked off of YouTube. We're demonetized on YouTube anyway. I believe I was canceled years ago before it was a thing. I've been demonetized. I don't make money on YouTube ads. Are you fucking crazy? But we got kicked off of YouTube a while ago, and then we rebuilt the channel. But there's something to that. I mean, honestly, I bet you Pornhub is... I bet you it's like Google and then YouTube and then Pornhub is the next biggest search engine out
It is.
there.
It's the third biggest. And they reached out to me, this is like maybe a month ago or something like that, to host the Pornhub Awards, right? And I thought about it, and I was like, I don't know, maybe we'll see. Like, I was like, I reached out, I hit them back, and I was like, if I do it, I have to bring in my guys, and we have to be able to satirize this whole thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would obviously ask Attell. I mean, I don't know if he would even have time for me, but I would be like, would you even just supervise this in any way? Nobody knows the business more than you. And like, let's have some actual fun with this. It didn't end up working out, but the idea that last year they had Kanye curate it, right? Travis Scott might be performing this one. It's coming super normalized. It's becoming super mainstream.
Yeah.
And as Instagram and Twitter, you see so much nudity, you see so much sex. It's just becoming kind of regular. Once you take a little stigma off porn and it's an open market for whatever content, YouTube better watch out. This is 10, 15 years. Maybe 5, 10 years.
It is very interesting.
But especially for us, where there's that moral constraint on YouTube where there would never be on Pornhub, it could be a place where we just upload shit just in case, and we tell people if they shut us down on this, you know where to find us.
Well, that's what they do now. Like, if there's, I remember when I watched Avengers Endgame in theaters, they had the leak on Pornhub. Like, they ain't taking it down on Pornhub. So
that's funny.
everything gets uploaded there. Like, if you look hard enough.
And our shit is we don't care about the money we're making from ads. Like, I'm not getting rich off fucking AdSense. We go
just
do
need it
live
there.
shows.
Yeah.
We sell merch. We do these other things where we can monetize our shit. We just need a place where you can fucking view it. And let's
I
be
make
honest.
pretty good money off of ads. But
Do you?
Off of ad reads, yeah.
No, YouTube ads.
No, YouTube ads, I
Yeah,
mean,
there's
nothing.
nothing. Yeah, it's just we'll get our own advertisers. We'll do our own. We'll eat what we hunt.
Yeah.
I don't need you to hunt for me.
Yeah.
I'm a hunt.
Yeah.
I like hunting. It's fun. If you're gonna try to leverage the little pennies you give me to like for me to change my whole content on your channel,
It's
you're
so
nuts.
it's
You're nuts.
a fraction. Do you know how much people have no idea? I won't get into numbers, but
Get into the numbers. How upset? Well, you don't have to say
people
what you
have
make, but what
no
you can make on
idea
YouTube. It's
if-
pennies.
Dude, nothing. YouTube sucks. If you have a podcast, I'll break it down. I'll just break it down nice and easy for you guys, okay? There's something called a CPM rate, right? It's the cost per 1,000 listeners, right? That's how people get paid on podcasts.
Click per mil is CPM.
No, it's cost per what M is.
Mil.
Mil is a
1,000 for yeah.
So click per mil, yeah.
It's cost per, but
Cost per mil, whatever. Yeah. Sorry, go.
I can't
go.
let it go.
It's okay.
Cost.
It's okay.
It's fine, Andrew. But so
You
the
know
way it
how
works-
rare it is that he feels smarter than you?
You-
Probably. That's why he had
Never
to get it in.
This fucking Jew chink over here.
$20 CPM rate is like the standard, right? There we go. Was it cost or click? Oh, if I'm wrong, this will fucking.
No, I think you're right. I think
I'll
you're right.
fucking punch a hole through this table. Cost per. Yes.
Cost per.
Thank you. But so you get a $20 CPM rate. You get $20 for every 1,000 listeners. You get 100,000 listeners. You get $2,000 per ad read. Nice and simple. $2,000 per ad read. You do 3 ads per show. $6,000. Joe Rogan makes $1 billion per show, is what I'm saying. You guys got to understand. Joe Rogan is a bazillionaire.
Yes.
There's
he's
real,
next level because what Joe does is partners with
He
the.
buys the companies that advertises on his
Yeah.
podcast.
that's
how,
the future.
That's how good podcast advertising is. That it makes sense to just buy the companies and then advertise through your own platform. It's the most brilliant, beautiful thing in the world. I love it. I created an entire business based off of that concept. If you go to podcast merch, we do all of our podcast merch in house now. We print it all of ourselves.
Yep.
Because it's built-in advertising for free with any podcasters that we work with.
Son, there's a. I was talking to this advertiser and he was talking about why it's so much more powerful, the podcast, than anything else. If some Instagram model is selling like Fit Tea or like hair gummies or something like that, right? So many people, so many girls follow that girl to hate follow her because they're like, fuck this bitch, I hate this bitch. a bunch of guys follow her just because she's hot, but don't really care. There's no investment. You can't listen to something for 2 hours.
Want to bet? You never hate listening to a podcast on a car ride?
Oh no.
Never have.
Never happened.
Yeah,
And
I
I would
can't hate
imagine,
things.
what would you say the majority of your devoted listeners are? Hate listeners or love listeners?
No, they're love listeners.
Right? So it's like
the vast majority.
So when you actually a 25 or a 20 CPM that you're getting is low.
Yeah.
Because
You're right.
everybody,
I agree.
they're the devout followers. They're the people who fucking love you.
I need to go you need to have a conversation with my ad sales guy
Bump that
because I
shit up,
say
babe.
that to his fucking face. I'm like, dude, I was like, we are fucking low.
We weeded out the people who don't care.
Well, this
How
is
the
also,
fuck could you charge go?
This is where Joe Rogan is even more next level. Is we love Joe Rogan, we follow Joe Rogan. So if Joe Rogan says, this company I believe in, I follow you.
Yeah, that's
I don't
my
give a
point.
fuck. Yeah, but Instagram model, I don't give a fuck what she thinks.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
It's not even, it was not even hate following. It's even if I love her,
It's meaningless.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, with the
And
podcast, you
was-
weed out the people that you're ambiguous about. These are just the people who really fuck with you.
Well, it's also you gotta understand the type of thing, right? So in Instagram, there's this very passive thing where you are sitting there, you're on the toilet, you're on a plane, you're just like looking.
There's no
I get in
investment.
trouble with my ex-girlfriend because she's like, "You like this girl's picture," and I was like, "I swear to you, I don't like girls' pictures because I don't fucking want to deal with your shit. I purposely don't do it." But it's so passive that sometimes I'm just going through and I'll click like without even thinking about it. There's no
I got a tremor in my
connection.
left hand.
I literally just got into an argument with my girl about this
Over this,
exact
yeah, like,
same
I don't even remember liking this
shit.
bitch's picture. I promise you, I'm not trying to fuck this chick.
Yeah.
Look, I also like 100 guys' pictures because I'm just bored on a plane and I'm not thinking about it. And it's very passive. Podcast listening is so active.
Sorry,
you have to subscribe for an RSS feed. You have to download it. You have to.
It takes up data
Takes up
on your
space.
fucking
Yes,
phone.
on your phone. You have to press play. You have to pause it. You have to rewind it to a certain point where you want to. There's a commitment to it, and the people, they feel that type of connection. There's a great meme. I mean, I know you've seen it because you're a podcaster, but it's with the kid that's sitting next to a poster.
Yeah,
and
it's like a board game, and it's like how it feels like when I'm listening to a podcast.
It's not a board game. What it is there's girls. It's like a poster on a wall, like an advertisement of girls eating an ice cream. They're eating
That's
an ice cream
what it
cone,
was. Right.
and there's another kid that sits next to the poster with an ice cream cone. Is just sitting there next to the poster, and then the meme is what it feels like to listen to a podcast because they feel like they're at the table. They feel like they're with you. They feel like they're with their buddies.
Yeah.
They're in your ears. They're very personal. They're listening to you in these very specific times in their car when they're working out.
It's intimate listening.
It's like but in these like almost like. It's like you have these sanctuaries. Your car on your way to work is like a sanctuary. You're comfortable. You're in your space. When you're at the gym, you're on a treadmill. You're working on yourself. You're kind of connecting these things in a weird way to like I don't know to these routines that sort of are meaningful in your life.
Yeah.
It's different than listening to like an album or something because you could do that in a group. Like you can all like bump a song for like 4 minutes because it's easily digestible and all that stuff. But for 2 hours, an hour and a half, whatever, like a lot of times you're right. You're by yourself. It's intimate. You feel like.
And someone said it to
check
me,
this
well,
out.
that's as close to your brain as
Yeah.
someone can possibly
Yeah.
be, is talking in your ears.
And they know you because look at this. I've been doing podcasts for almost a decade now. Doggy, you know how much different of a person I am in the past 10 years?
And they've seen you grow. They've
I've
seen
become
you
a
evolve.
father.
Yeah.
I was a
lot
punk
changed.
ass who who's just a street kid smoking blunts in stairwells when I started podcasting.
Right.
And now I run businesses and I'm a father. I got a 7-year-old kid. I'm a peaceful parent. I have philosophy on life. I look at the world very
You grew up.
differently. Yeah. And they grew up with me. A lot of these fans that have been here for a long time.
Yeah, they're supported, they're invested, and you've created something. And I've witnessed you create it. Especially with Skankfest, you see the growth of it every year. It's incredibly impressive. And we've spoken about it a lot on this podcast. About what Skankfest has done.
Thank you.
The thing about podcasts, which is so interesting to me and why we're so undervalued and underpaid, is that when Home Depot makes a commercial that they're going to put on the Home and Garden channel or whatever the fuck that is, you know how much money they spend on that commercial?
It's crazy.
They spend $500,000 on the not that
Not
they
even just to buy the slot.
just
Production.
to make the fucking
Yeah.
commercial, right? And then they take that $500,000 and then they pay, what is it called, the Home and Garden Network, another $150,000 or whatever the fuck it is. Maybe it's $200,000. They spent $750,000 on a commercial.
And that's lowballing. They'll spend like millions of dollars to be like Home Depot presents Alabama versus LSU
Right.
or some
But
bullshit.
those ratings are crazy. We're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about ratings on a Home and Garden Network TV show
Right.
that are akin to a podcast rating. So
They're like House Hunters.
House
I
Hunters.
promise you, my podcast gets more listeners than House Hunters gets on the average
So
show.
then let's check it, right? So Home
Actually,
Depot.
House Hunters probably huge.
Home Depot,
show.
$750,000 they're spending to get 100,000 views on House Hunters,
Yeah.
right? When you could literally give us
Fraction of
50,
that.
you could give us 50,000. You give us 100,000 to sponsor the whole podcast. You save 650,000, and you get the 100,000 that are devout followers of us that are influenced.
For $100,000, I would let them anally penetrate me with a homemade Home Depot wooden dildo that they could just shove it into my ass. That's the whole commercial.
The point I was making about Rogan, I didn't finish, was he invests in the company, so it's like, oh, this motherfucker really believes in it if he's partial owner. Right. So not only do I follow Rogan, now I'm like, yo, this guy who I believe in believes in this company enough to be a part of it. And Rogan is not a guy who's gonna invest in some shit you don't believe in. So you're like, well, this is it. Let's do it.
That's another way to support.
And then you're making double money. You know what I mean? Like,
jeez,
printing money.
That's a rich.
But that's the thing that we should all be doing. I mean, every one of us should be investing in our own. Like if you have the point, like if you have that kind of influence, like if you're going to 400 million people a month.
Yeah.
Right. Like, why would I let you buy an ad from me?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm making your company.
Yeah.
You got to give me a piece of the fucking
almost
company.
Any product. And just go, I would rather just sell my product directly to the consumers. Look at these affiliate deals. People make crazy money with like dumb affiliate deals where they have an Amazon link on their fucking website and they go, oh yeah, just click the link right below the episode and buy all your Amazon through there. And as soon as they sign up for your affiliate, I mean, there are people that make thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month, like tens of thousands of dollars a month, just simply not even like, they don't even talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
So there's a massive opportunity. But once again, you have to navigate sort of that world because they're going to start coming. I said this a long time ago because they weren't coming after podcasts. Nobody got in trouble for anything on a podcast until Milo. Milo got in trouble for what he said on Rogan's podcast, and that was the first one. And then these bloggers, they're going to realize there's an insane amount of content that they can sift through.
They won't do it unless the person's already being canceled.
Yeah. Because
it's too much time.
Yeah, that is
you
true.
have to listen. Now, what could fuck us all up is Apple was going to transcribe all the podcasts.
Ooh.
And if they transcribe everything, and you can just type a keyword in and find every podcast that has the N-word, right?
It's just all Legion of Skank.
Well, we're number one at something. So, like, then everybody's fucked. So as long as we don't do that, that's fine. But look, man, I appreciate you so much for coming on. Dude. I love you. I think that you're great. I think you guys should check out every fucking podcast that Lewis does, and definitely Skankfest. You know, we're gonna get the assholes out there to Skankfest this next year.
This is gonna be a big one. We're gonna go. We're going with a bigger venue. We ditched the venue.
Coney Island. You doing a Coney Island thing or
not necessarily? Coney Island. It's still on the table. I love Coney Island.
I spoke to Rachel a little bit about it, but I think that was a really cool idea as well. But anything I could do to help you, you know, I'm here for you, man. I'm a resource, so anything you need.
You guys are brothers.
And but I really think that it's great what you've been doing, man. Just getting all these comics canceled and no, but real talk, man. I love what you guys are doing. I love the hustle, man. So you'll support Lewis. Let them know where they can see you, what they can listen to, and everything.
Yeah, guys, check out all my podcasts on gasdigitalnetwork.com. You don't got to subscribe. You can subscribe to support on the premium side, which you get thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of content you can't get anywhere else. But you can just watch all the podcasts right through there. You can subscribe to all of them for free right through there. You can watch them live as they go out. We have our own platform, so that's the most important thing. Support the platform. That side of it. I think what we're doing at Gas Digital is important in that we are working with comedians and content creators to create the stuff that they want to create with absolutely no judgment, complete support of the artists. So we always appreciate when you guys support it.
A lot of great podcasts on it. You know, Mike Cannon, Mike Feeney have a podcast. Irish Goodbye is on Gas Digital.
It's not just comics as well. We have, obviously Michael Bisping, former UFC middleweight champion, Tommy Dreamer, ECW legend, the lead singer of Hatebreed, Jamie Josta, who's fucking coolest dude. He did the intro music for my special. Yeah. I had Hatebreed do my fucking intro music for my special. How cool is that?
Check out Lewis's special. You got some clips on YouTube.
Louis J. Gomez presents Louis J. Gomez. You can buy it. Louis J. Gomez presents LouisJGomez.com. A bunch of big chunks of it are out on YouTube. Obviously, watching what Andrew does and watching the fan base and it's kind of funny. One of these clips now is just like it's just getting more and more traction, and I'm like,
now
oh
you
shit,
see the power
these aren't fans. These are just like people that are discovering it because they click on something and
It hit the algorithm.
yeah, they hit that algorithm. So keep on sharing those clips as well. Share that. Honestly, any of the comics. I'll say something else. Any of the comics you guys love, share their shit. That's the most important thing. It's hard. It sucks for us to have to ask on Twitter, like, hey, can you guys share this? We don't want to do that. That's not cool. We can't do that. Just share it, please. Just don't make us ask. Also, if you see us in the street and you see me with a hot chick, come up and say what's up. Make me look like the fucking man. I get messages, people like, yo, I saw you. I don't want to bother you. You idiot. Bother me. I'm trying to fuck this shit. Do you know how cool I look?
Yo, man, we really appreciate you coming on, Lewis. Let's grab a pic, and we'll stop down for a second, then we'll come back and we're going to talk a little sports.
All right, let's do it.
And we back, baby. That was Louis J. Gomez, finally connecting these two worlds, the Flagrancy and the Legion of Skanks. We got to get the Skanks on a podcast one. Do a big.
That's great talk, man.
Do a big mashup, but yeah, definitely an important comedy talk. You know how important comedy is to us in this podcast, and I think it's the backbone of this podcast. So having those talks are very important. But it's time to get to these deportes. You know what I mean? We got some deportes that we need to discuss. Let's talk about
Big
it. My
news.
fucking head, dude.
Yeah. It's killing you?
Yeah, something. I don't know. I just don't feel right. I think it's coffee. I think I was like overdoing it with coffee.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Like a medium or something?
Say again?
Did you get like a medium or something?
Yeah, and I've been trying to do less. I don't know. I'll figure it out. It's fine.
Eli's done. Eli
Game
has
over,
benched
huh?
himself.
Wait. He benched himself?
Yeah, right? That's my understanding. This just broke.
He got benched. They named Daniel Jones a
I
starter.
thought he thought he pulled himself. Isn't that what you told me, Eden?
Did he? Oh, well, either way, the Eli Manning era is done in New York City.
The Giants just did it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Giants bench
yeah,
Eli.
Giants
Okay, my
bench
bad.
him.
My bad.
Yeah.
what a
Misunderstood.
shitty it's a real tragedy, man, that like, and listen, get your money, and if you want to try to have fun, go have fun, but he could have, let's say he retires earlier.
Yeah.
Let's say he retires a year or two after
After the Super Bowl.
the Super Bowl. He goes down as a top tier quarterback. I don't care what anybody has to say. Maybe not top tier, but second tier. You have 2 rings?
I still think
Yeah.
he's a top tier quarterback. I think he's still. I think
Does he
he's
make the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't keep him out.
You can't put a 2-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time Super Bowl winner not in the Hall of Fame.
Was he MVP of both Super Bowls? Was he MVP of either
He's
Super
on
Bowl?
both of them? Oh shit. My fault. It was both of them that he was Super Bowl MVP at? I think so.
Thank you.
But you know what? The one thing that I kind of felt good about this was you watch like the Andrew Luck shit. You see like fucking Cam Newton looking like a shell of himself.
So Cam
like,
sucks now?
he's just fucked up, dude. Like he can't run, he can't do nothing.
I also think Cam, and I was the biggest Cam Newton fan for the longest, but I think he hadn't been the same since that Super Bowl, man.
you put him in the Hall of Fame just off that stat alone.
2 Super Bowl MVPs.
Joe Montana has won 3. Bart Starr, Terry Bradshaw, and Eli Manning, the only quarterbacks to win 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and Tom Brady. You're in there off that stat alone.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just glad he's going out on his feet and not on his back, because it could have been like last year and the year before he was getting fucking pummeled every single week.
Oh, you mean like injured and taken out?
Yeah, like he deserved to like walk out on his own terms at least.
You know, it's an interesting discussion. I heard
Interesting.
Peter King is on the ticket every week, that station I was listening to, and he talked about Tom Brady wants his legacy to be telling young quarterbacks, there's a different way to train. And he said basically like getting stronger every week is not the move, especially if you're not a lineman. Like pliability he always talks about and being flexible. And Eli is a guy that has no real muscle mass.
Yeah.
And how long did Eli last? He's just
damn
flexible. He's pliable. He's made the motherfucker look like Gumby. Bend him however you want to, and he back. And that's an interesting discussion, perhaps off of this. But yeah, Eli, you know what's funny is Daniel Jones, everybody hated when he was drafted, and now they can't wait for him to play.
Can't wait for him to ball out. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to have some moments where it's like now he's at a sweet spot where the expectations are a lot lower for the team overall. So any good thing Daniel Jones does, New York's going to fucking love
That's
him
true.
for.
That's a good point.
And on top of that, with the whole flexibility shit, you look at Ben Roethlisberger, who he might be done for his career. He's having Tommy John surgery. That's not a 1 year recovery.
Right.
That's like at least a year and a half.
So he's
like,
out.
He might be like it might be a wrap for Big Ben.
How old is Big Ben?
Same age as Eli, same age as Phillip Rivers. They all came in
37?
that same little fucking
37.
draft. I think so. Like
37. Big
late
Ben
30s.
37.
And you look at those guys, and it's like, fuck. At least Eli, for as much of an ass kicking that he took those years after that, the Giants weren't that good. The year that they finally drafted Saquon or whatever, and they're like the worst team in the NFL. Like, he got his rings. They'll never be able to take him from that, and he's going out on his feet. That's the only thing I'm glad to see.
He is the worst Super Bowl. He's the worst Hall of Fame quarterback probably ever. Probably.
Really?
Probably. Yeah, because outside of his 2 years, look, I'm a guy that hated the Giants, but like I respect the fuck out of Eli in the playoffs. I fear Eli in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But a lot of times he couldn't even get the team to the playoffs because he just kept blowing games. And I think he absolutely belongs in the Hall of Fame, but I do also think Ben Roethlisberger's definitely a better quarterback, also 2-time Super Bowl winner. I think a lot of these guys are better quarterbacks than Eli. But he's in for 2 fucking amazing postseasons and really games.
Yeah.
And really, against the Patriots, it was 17-14. He had one amazing play.
Yeah, but at the same that's very true.
And his throw was only half of the amazing part. That fucking catch was insane on his helmet.
The gum on his helmet, whatever the fuck it was. But I mean, it's rough for him because it's like you look at Eli and you look at the numbers, and sight unseen, you're like he's automatically a Hall of Famer. Like he's top 10 in passing yards, top 10 in passing touchdowns.
Yeah, but that's all skewed because now the numbers are all like passing is much easier now in today's game.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like with him. I put him in the Hall of Fame because of the Super Bowls and all that type of shit. But like for the past 15, 16 seasons, as much as the Giants have changed, that dude was the
It's Patreon, Cat. Son.
That nigga was the constant every fucking season. Eli was lining
this
up
ain't
under
no slam
center.
Event.
He lined up under
slammed
center.
a couple N-words out here,
every
Cash.
game, every season for the 16 years, man. So it's like, yo. He gets something off of that.
Hold on. They're trying to text us something.
Yeah, just talking to the mic, yo.
All right. So, Eden just found this thing. Pittsburgh doctor claims Antonio Brown farted in his face and owes him $11,000. $11,000 for farting.
I don't mind. I don't like Antonio Brown, but now this is getting ridiculous. Like, come on, yo.
Jeez. Well, he did get accused by like another woman
now
too.
This I further believe this is all the Steelers just trying to.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, smear campaign.
Yeah, smear campaign. Like,
bro, he farted in your face. So what does that tell me? He's hilarious. That's all it tells me.
11,000 for a fart. That's an expensive ass fart.
No, ain't nobody getting no fucking 11,000.
He had like some funky code about it too. He's like, I'm a doctor and this is immature, and people say that when you work with him, you're family, and he says all this God stuff, and you feel like he's gonna be a part of you for life. And he's always
Antonio Brown don't say no God stuff.
Apparently he does.
He got a God complex. He don't say nothing about God. You can't call this guy phony. I've never seen Antonio Brown pretend to be a good person. The general perception of him is not God-fearing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. So he's not a guy preaching a lot. Ray Lewis be preaching.
I mean, he had that girl watching the video, the sermon.
But that was his, like, remember Aziz trying to fuck that girl with Seinfeld? That's all Antonio Brown was doing. He used, instead of Seinfeld, Creflo Dollar.
He was using Creflo. Yeah, maybe. I think that you're just seeing a pylon right now. That's really what it comes
his
to.
mansion has a synagogue in it.
I got a lot of Jewish friends, and the synagogue is where you bless up. That's so funny.
That's a great quote.
He says he also has a ritual hand washing station at home. Wow, interesting. Look, Antonio Brown is an interesting ass dude, and we didn't know that he was interesting until he left the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Until Vontaze Burfict knocked him inside out.
Yeah, that's true. And that might have been a way.
You know what's funny? You've been knowing he was interested.
Dude,
we didn't know he was a rapist
Burfict
until he left the Steelers. Is that what you mean?
No, but Vontaze Burfict made him a rapist and Jewish. Dude, we gotta look at this Vontaze Burfict guy. This guy's maybe the greatest tackler in the history of football. He can like tackle ideology into you. This guy's very impressive. But yeah, I think what's happening, you're just seeing a pylon right now with Antonio Brown. It's like everything that I mean, this is locker room hijinks. Farting in someone's face is locker room hijinks. That's what you do to a friend. That's what you do to a teammate. This is just part of the game. And he was obviously comfortable enough with you to get you in on the joke. And now you're being a little fucking sissy ass bitch about it. What is this? A doctor?
This is a doctor. Yeah, his
Doing
personal
what?
doctor.
This is his personal doctor.
Doctoring, I guess.
Bro, it's like you're touching guys' dicks and balls and shit like that. You're sticking your finger in their assholes and you can't take a fart to the face, you fucking bitch. What a pussy ass doctor.
Why do you even need $11,000, son? You're a doctor. Grow up.
Yeah, and Dude, way to calculate how much that fart is worth. An $11,000 fart, right? It's like the guy is arguably one of the best athletes in the game, right? He's probably eating the best food that you could buy. Dude, that's a blessing to be farted on by, where do you think he went to dinner? Like, this guy's eating the best restaurants. He's eating the best food.
Clean protein.
It's clean protein. It's like...
It's like
Dude,
McCormick and Schmick's or some shit.
Yeah,
like,
you're eating
really
like
nice
Peter Luger's steak fart.
Steakhouse.
You know, like Minetta Tavern. Like, this is the real legit shit.
Yeah.
And to complain about it, especially as a doctor, like all this stuff you got to go see. Fuck that, dude.
It is kind of
That
strange.
I guarantee you that doctor got shitted on when he was a resident.
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
like, bro, you're a doctor. The way worse shit has happened to you within
Literally.
the line of duty.
Literally.
Way
Shit has
worse
happened to you.
But yeah, it's weird, man.
Anyway,
I do
fuck him.
buy into the fucking.
But that's what's happened. Everybody's just piling on. It's all these girls. Anything he ever did uncomfortable with a girl in the last fucking 10 years is going to happen. You're going to see other girls from college come out and say shit happened, doctors and stuff. And it's. But what's so funny is that it seems like we've really rebelled against Me Too because none of these stories getting much traction, right? One of these stories came out back in the day, your career's over. And now it's like, oh, we've seen this before. This is what happened. This blah, blah, blah.
I'm going to be honest. When the second girl came out, I was like, oh, fuck, there's two now. And then when this doctor was like, oh, he also farted in my face, me too. I was like, nah, man, now
Give it a
hashtag none of
break.
you.
Dude,
Give me
it's
a
crazy.
break.
It's like the more people that come out, actually the weaker the argument gets.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is weird because it seems like a pylon.
It's. I never want to be that type of person that victim blames, but at the same time, it's like, bro, at what point does anybody step in and be like, okay,
Just get your nose out of his butthole.
yeah, like, yo, none of this shit happened within the past week. Like, do you think out of all this time, like, even if I'm trying to, like, and I'm not trying to say, like, you know, if you accuse somebody of something or however hard it is for you to come up and say it, whatever, like, you don't think right now, the time where everybody's piling on, you don't think it could become a little less credible? You don't think it would have been better to
We
say
did talk
this
about last
months
episode.
ago or years ago or back when, like, it wasn't as hot, where this motherfucker is in the news every day and shit, so people are just like, all right, that's just the next Antonio Brown story. Let's just
We
throw
did
it in the
talk
fucking
last
pile.
episode about how sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't realize I was fucked up. Now that he's doing it, I'm seeing he's doing this to everybody. That is fucked up.
Yeah.
But this motherfucker talking about farting, dog. Get out of here. Now, they really,
Farts.
all of a sudden, I don't hate AB as much.
Farts,
Like now, it's just,
man.
now I'm starting to feel like you're just bullying this guy, and I'm like, all right, this was the tipping point for me.
Yeah.
the fart,
Hurts,
the
bro.
fart in my face.
Also, like, how much is AB worth?
50 million at least.
Probably more than that.
Maybe let's say he
He's
truly
getting
has
15
in the
million a
bank.
year just this year.
If he meets incentives, let's say he truly has in the bank $30 million, right? You don't think he'd pay 10 grand to fart in somebody's face? Like, if he
Like, if that was
wanted
his thing?
to fart in people's faces, you could do that for way less money than 10 grand. Way less money. That's a fetish. I've seen videos of like fat chicks just sitting on guys and like farting on their
There's
face.
a comic we know who wants to get farted on. Like,
Who?
that's like his thing. I'll tell you at the podcast.
Really? It's like a sexual thing?
Yeah, it's like he's about it. He's about that life.
And
dog.
I know them?
Yeah, you know him. And he'll like talk about it openly, but like I don't want to put his shit out
All
there.
right, that's
literally.
fair.
How much you think?
How much is the comic worth?
No.
Oh, 20 million I think he has.
Okay.
AB, that's at 30.
How much is he worth?
That works.
Net worth.
Net worth is gonna be higher. 'cause
Yeah, I'll go 80 mil net worth.
30.
30,
30?
whatever. Who knows?
That's not bad. Yeah.
Point is, it's like he can afford to do that kind of stuff. You can afford to fart in someone's face. That is a practical joke. You didn't like the practical joke. Get over it, buddy. You're in a fucking locker room. I think that we need to have different rules for different places. You are in a football locker room. You are seeing guys' dicks. You are seeing
All much
naked
bigger
bodies.
than yours, by the way.
100%.
You should already be just. You should shut the fuck up.
Right, because
Like-
your dick isn't big. You're not allowed to talk.
Yeah.
I like
You're the
that.
littlest
I like
dick in
that
the room.
logic. Akash, your dick is smaller. You can't talk.
You don't meet
That's
the
why I'm
height
gonna be quiet for the
requirements.
rest of the episode.
You don't meet the girth requirements here, buddy.
So it's just like, different situations have different courses of action and different rules.
Yeah.
You know, you do not work at Time Warner Cable in an office. In Time Warner Cable in an office, seeing somebody's dick and being naked around people would be cause for getting firing.
For sure.
That's not part of this job. Hijinks that exist within the job. you have to be able to understand and accept it. If you don't want to fucking work there, don't work there. You're a doctor. You can get a job working anywhere else. You want to work with athletes in a locker room setting, you're going to deal with jokes that are going to be probably racist, homophobic, misogynistic, transphobic, all that kind of shit. This is just part of it.
Was that what it's called? The Hippocratic Oath? Where you're not supposed to say shit?
Oh, shit.
Like, what if this motherfucker has like a really bad gas problem and you just put his whole shit on blast where he can't stop farting?
So
I would counter
the Hippocratic
AB.
Oath is you're not allowed to discuss.
Hippocratic Oath is do no harm. But there's also confidentiality. I don't think it's part of the oath, but there's a
What is it called?
It is. It's
part of it, right?
And that's one. It's almost like the 10 Commandments type of shit.
Yeah.
So one of it is like you can't release like.
You're not supposed to be
medical
out here
records.
spreading.
So this
You
is a
can't talk
lawsuit?
about someone's medical record.
So it's a lawsuit.
It's
So
an
it's
easy lawsuit.
yeah.
Easy lawsuit.
Dude.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's what AB could say. Maybe AB could say that like he would have been having digestion
I have
problems.
extreme lactose intolerance
Yeah.
and it farts all the time and it's been bothering me and
Pay off another bullshit ass doctor to say, yeah, I've diagnosed him with this. This is real. I'm a
Yeah.
doctor.
Or like, yo, my farts have been smelling crazy. Would you mind telling me what you think this is? What's wrong with this? Like that. There are ways you could easily get around this. What a bitch ass hoe of a doctor. What's this guy's name? Find this fucking guy's name.
Seth Simon.
Dude, it might be him. I don't even like mention that motherfucker.
God
dude.
damn.
That's Voldemort. Seth Simon's
he
legit
who
Voldemort,
shall not
bro.
be named. Bro.
Real talk.
I don't mind putting the name out there to the assholes.
I found it funny that he on Patreon he's like, oh yeah, I don't want to like advocate somebody causing violence to that guy.
Yeah.
And you guys just on the other episode was like, he should get snuffed.
Snuff in his
Like,
mouth, bro.
but he's on Skankfest and they say the wildest shit. But
Legion of Skank. Yeah, it is a weird thing because like, you know, like that. I always thought Antifa were cornballs
Yeah.
until this whole situation happened, and now I understand Antifa. You know, like they're throwing milkshakes on people and like beating up like the right wing people in the streets of Portland. Do you know that group I'm talking about?
Yeah. The
So it's
extreme
like-
leftists.
Yeah, the extreme leftists are
Yeah.
like beating up the extreme rightists,
Yeah.
right? And my initial reaction with them was like, you don't have to beat someone up. Why? They're not doing it. Just let people have their stupid opinions. But when your opinions infringe on like the life of, when infringe on my life and my friends' lives, I understand throwing a milkshake at you. Like I completely would be fine if this kid got slapped up. I don't want to get back into the comedy shit.
Yeah.
Let's just throw
He'll
mad
live.
milkshakes at this kid. How about that?
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
we need to bring back like throwing tomatoes at motherfuckers when they're not funny.
So that nobody else has to do it? I mean, like, we don't need bloggers if you could just
Yeah.
see the tomato get thrown at.
Absolutely. Like
Interesting.
if there's a video out there and you're telling a joke, and you ever watch like old school Looney Tunes when like Bugs Bunny would tell a corny joke and you get fucking tomatoes
Yeah.
thrown at the motherfucker? At the very least, instead of beating up guys like that fucks up comedy, somebody should just walk up to you and just throw a fucking tomato.
Throw the tomatoes at bloggers. Yeah. be
like
interesting.
that's harmless. It's not a punch or something like
That
yo.
works.
This motherfucker got tomatoes thrown at him. We can't fuck with this dude. He's
I'm
like
with
this
it. I'm with
scarlet letter.
I'm with it.
Go find some fucking old tomatoes and just rain on this dude one day.
Yo.
I guarantee you he will never talk shit.
No, that's all I'm saying. He just needs to feel the repercussions of his
Yeah.
actions, and then he'll think twice about it. But anyway, look,
Everybody needs that hot stove.
Odell Beckham Jr. comes back and to New York, and he has an amazing fucking game.
Balls out.
He really balls out. His first touchdown as a Cleveland Brown. This incredible one-handed catch. I mean, he cooked. He had another watch on. I think this watch was more
$2
expensive.
million.
$2 million.
It's a $2 million
Clear
watch.
Richard Millie.
Yeah.
$2 million. Shout
Yeah.
out to my boy Tez. He's been following around for that, and he was the one who broke that story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Good guy.
what are our thoughts? Are the Browns back in it? Do the Jets just suck that bad? You know, like what are we thinking here?
I've said it from us. First off, the fucking Jets. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they all are so bad.
My God. They were like, and I was talking about those shattered backboards on his feet? Those shattered backboard cleats? God damn, those are fire. Yeah, those shattered backboards. Fucking, the Jets are like Jenga, bro. Like, they're really nice, and you could build them up and put like little pieces there. But
Son,
once
you the
one
only
piece
person I
fucking
know thought
came
they were
off,
going to be actually good.
I thought a lot of people
I thought
they
they
were
might
gonna
be good next year, and I think they might be good next year because I think Sam Darnold will be good. But this
Motherfucker
year,
got
no.
mono. Kunti Anunwa get fucking hurt. A bunch of people got, who else? CJ Mosley got hurt in a critical possession of the game.
Y'all
Was
terrible,
out.
bro.
Fucking Quentin Williams, their first round pick, hurt.
Yeah, I don't think the Browns are Super Bowl contenders. I think they're going to be good. I think they'll get better than this as they keep gelling. Baker and Odell and all these guys. But yeah, I don't. I think the Jets are also just bad. This was a good game for them to have.
Well, the Browns got to see the Ravens, and I don't think they got anything for them, to be honest. I think the Ravens are the best, not just the best team in that division. They're one of the best teams in the entire AFC. I had them as my AFC pick.
And
to the Super Bowl.
Jackson had a good game too.
Another one.
Yeah,
And
so
I've
it
been
might
trying
be
to- I've
real.
been trying to tell motherfuckers about Lamar Jackson. I'm like, yo, this guy's
great.
the fucking truth. Yes, he only ran as a rookie because it fucking worked. He didn't have a preseason to train with these motherfuckers and know how to really throw.
He
these
got to
motherfuckers.
run less though, man.
He has. I mean, well, granted, he's not running
I think
like
he had like 16 carries last game or something like
he
that.
ran for like
bro.
120
Yeah,
yards.
yeah,
or some
crazy.
shit.
That's
Like,
great. But he's gonna get beat up. He's gonna get hurt. You
Yeah.
do not last in the NFL running like that if you're a quarterback.
But
And
the
he's
one
not
thing-
big. He's a skinny guy.
He's slider. He's not like Cam Newton big, but he's
Yeah.
like he's more built like Mike Vick was, but probably a little taller.
He's RG3 build, and RG3 didn't last.
Yeah, my thing is like he's shown people he can beat you with his arm,
Keep him in the pocket,
which
bro.
is exciting to watch. I think if you watched him in Louisville, you saw this shit coming. Like he was the fucking. Like he was the Steph Curry of football. He was always like Patrick Mahomes, where like he was just putting up cartoonish ass numbers.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, he just plays at Louisville. He can't possibly replicate that in the NFL. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. Oh, he just plays at Texas Tech. He can't possibly replicate those numbers in the NFL, and he's doing it.
Right.
So it's like seeing and they play each other this week.
And it's on.
That's
You
gonna
think
be
is
that's gonna
Odell
be a
wearing
baller.
the watch? Actually, Justin Washington, captain, asked how long will Odell keep doing the watch thing.
As long as it makes news.
Yeah.
He just wants news. He just wants attention. And if I'm his manager, if I'm his like his media buyer or whatever the fuck it is, it's like Odell is a podcast. That's what you got to think about it like, right? And you're a podcast, you're going to have viewers. So the podcast wants sponsors. I can't put a sponsor on my jersey. I can't put a sponsor on the socks. I can't put sponsor on my feet because that's Nike.
Right.
How else can I use my image to give a brand value?
Smart.
Good point.
If Richard Mill 100% is paying Odell to do this outside of just giving him watches.
That's a great point.
And-
I had never heard of this watch until this.
I never heard of this watch company, and,
I know
and
Jay-Z
keep in
rapped
mind,
about it
100%, Richard Mill is paying any fine that Odell would.
What's the biggest fine you get? Like $20,000, 40. It's
doesn't
not even
matter.
a fraction of what that watch costs.
It's
I'll
not even
gladly take
about
the
watch
fine.
costs. It's about PR. It's
Of
like how
course.
much money would it cost to have 10 million people hear about your watch? How much money would it cost to have every sports Instagram account
Yeah.
post a picture of your watch?
Yeah.
Like, how much money would you have to pay to have every sports podcast, every sports radio show talk about your watch and mention your watch brand? An innumerable amount. You don't have that much money.
There are
Saving
two
money.
athletes that you would do this for: Russell Westbrook and Odell Beckham Jr. But Russell Westbrook doesn't play. You know, he's not playing with a watch or basketball. But those are the two athletes that are fashion icons. Cam tries to be. We just laugh at him.
Fashion
But-
icons.
but that's-
For me, I don't even think it's about him being fashionable. I think it definitely helps that he's fashionable
Yeah.
because you want to associate your brand with fashion. But realistically, Richard Mill is like, I just want people to talk about Richard Mill. And this guy is going to be the most hot button topic
Yeah.
guy to do it. And I guess what you're saying with Westbrook, it makes sense too. It's like people pay attention to what Westbrook wears, and
And we like
It's
people.
hard for him to wear anything newsworthy, though.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a Richard Mill commercial?
Is that the Jay-Z
Never
wearing a
once.
Mille for a Mille or whatever?
Yeah.
And you know what
Yeah.
you can't do? You can't wear a watch during an NBA game. You
Yeah,
shouldn't
exactly.
be able
That's
to
what I'm
wear a
saying.
watch during an NFL game. He'll pay the fines, but he's making tons of money on it. And you know what? I don't hate it. Get
I
your
don't hate
money,
it
bro.
either.
I
Get
don't
your
hate
money,
it.
King.
I find him annoying. He had this quote about the trade. This wasn't no business move. This was personal. They thought they'd send me here to die. They thought they send you to the up and coming Browns to die.
I mean,
if I want you to die, I'm gonna send you to Detroit. I'll keep you in state and go to Cincinnati. You gonna die in Cincinnati. This idea that we just sent them to the worst team because no, the Browns are nice, dog. Everybody thought they were coming up. They got Jarvis Landry on the other side. You getting single coverage. This was a great move for him.
How is Jarvis Landry playing?
I
haven't
don't
really heard
think
much.
he's putting
I
up
haven't really heard
crazy
much.
numbers. I don't know that he cares. I don't know him to be a diva. Maybe he is.
He
There's
just
a
wants
bunch of
to win.
stories I missed. But a couple of, like Hard Knocks episodes I saw, he didn't seem like wild or whatever. But quite possible I missed some shit. But yeah, he doesn't seem to be.
Yeah,
And they
Baker
played together in
Mayfield
college.
hasn't been really that great. Like outside of that long.
Yeah, Baker
that
didn't look great
89
yesterday. I'm a Baker fan.
Yeah, I looked at his stats. He finished with like 300 yards, but a lot of that was on that one Odell play
got
that went for
89
like
yards
89
right there.
yards. Yeah, so
So wait, so you think Baker isn't playing that well?
he's been mid.
I think he's
been
going to be
mid.
good, but like it's just a lot to fucking learn as an NFL quarterback. Like a lot of blitzes that you don't. They had one play I didn't get to watch the whole game, but they had one play where they had like 3 men on the line or 4 men on the line. The defensive end dropped back into coverage, and then they sent another guy blitzing, like a cornerback or some shit.
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
as a second-year quarterback, you're not probably used to these looks.
He's
so,
a second-year quarterback, and there's tape on him now.
yeah.
And a lot of reason why people are saying Lamar Jackson is cooking is because there wasn't much tape on him still last year. A lot of times he was just running, wasn't seeing him a lot under center. We've seen a lot of Baker from week 4 when he took over as a starter,
Right.
to now. You know what I mean? Like, granted, you got Odell, you got some new weapons, all this type of shit, but the tape's out on you. Like,
Right,
people
so
know,
you have to make adjustments to their adjustments.
Yeah.
And that's what Baker's doing right now.
Yes.
Is everybody's made adjustments to him, so now he has to step it up one more time. Interesting. Okay.
But I fuck with Baker, man. Obviously, I'm a Baker Mayfield fan as well. But he's just been average. He's been average these first 2 games, man.
Right.
Not great, not bad, not terrible, but just like,
Yeah, it's a little reality check, I think. And it could get better. But Dak struggled his second year and half of his third year. It just happens, it seems like. Not a lot of people beat it. Even Tom Brady didn't win a Super Bowl his second year.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes ain't struggling.
Patrick Mahomes might be the truth, man.
He might be. He might be the second coming.
I think we should talk about some little Patreon questions.
I got the Justin Washington question. Tunji Taylor-Lewis, did James Corden go on that fat shaming rant against Bill Maher for better ratings, or is he just that much of a pussy?
I'll tell you this. I know James Corden from Carpool Karaoke. I knew he had a show on late night. I hadn't seen any clip of his late night shit except for that fat shaming bit. So yeah he did it for
ratings.
some ratings.
Of course, everything he does is for ratings. That Carpool Karaoke shit for ratings. All this shit is for ratings. He's an annoying fat fuck, and he should be shamed for not only being fat but just being fucking annoying and his inauthentic energy. I hate his fucking joyful energy.
I'm not a fan, dog.
It's like there's no way you're that. That was the thing that annoyed me about Fallon too. It's like there's no way that you're that excited for every guest.
It's so good.
That's why Fallon's an alcoholic, because he got to drink away all the pain and pretending to be so happy every fucking
all the time.
Yeah.
We have blah 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 here, Taylor Swift here. We have this 14-year-old from Stranger Things here. It's like, you really that excited to speak to a 14-year-old girl? You're a grown ass fucking man, and you're that excited,
bro. I get it.
Nah,
I
man. Dave, you know why Letterman was my favorite interviewer? Because he would keep it so real sometimes.
Exactly.
Dog, I remember he had Katie Holmes on with the Tom Cruise relationship, and she was doing Batman at the time. He asked her a couple Batman questions, and then he goes, all right, now let's talk about the real reason I brought you onto the show.
But it's just like, be real with it, man. That's why people love podcasts. You get to be real with it.
Yeah, you can't run from a podcast.
Dude, it's like once podcasts came out, it exposed how fucking dog shit late night was. It's like, try watching any conversation on late night and then just listen to or watch a video of a podcast.
Jeez.
It is 2 completely different worlds. It is the fake.
Every talk show, though. Not even just late night. Every talk show, unless it's like fucking like Real Sports or like ESPN fucking E60, where like you're sitting there and really getting to or some Bill Simmons shit. Like, it's hard for me to sit down and watch any talk show now. So I'm like, what are you gonna get? What are you gonna get? Sitting and talking with this guy for 5 minutes. They bring out a musical guest. They like, oh, and here's the album coming out. And here comes Chance the Rapper.
I don't even know why people do it
nobody
anymore.
fucking cares.
I don't know why people do it anymore. The only time you should be going on those shows is when you fucked up, and you have to like address what you did that was fucked up. That's the only time. And the only reason you go there is to control your own narrative, because you know they're going to run with it. So you at least set your narrative straight, and then they can run with what you said. But to go on any of those shows as a promotional device, I've never like watched Adam Sandler on ESPN talking about the Mets and went, I gotta watch his new movie. I gotta see Adam Sandler's new movie because of his amazing Mets analysis.
The last time I watched like a late night show was like when the Avengers were on Kimmel and they were showing.
I don't. But this is what you said about SNL, and this is Fallon.
I'll watch that.
This is what you said about SNL, and this is Fallon's brilliance as a late night host. He was the one that realized, oh, we just cut clips up and put them on YouTube, guys. That's how we win.
Right.
Nobody's gonna watch the show. Cut clips up, put them on YouTube, and that's what they do. And I will say this: if you're a celebrity, most of the guys we know very few authentic and interesting people in this business.
Yeah.
So if you're one of these people, go on the talk show. They're going to set you up, play fucking basketball with a seal or whatever, and, oh, it looks like I have a personality. Or, oh, I don't have to answer things honestly. This is just a nice, easy, fun, light thing. And that's my lane, because I'm not going to have original thoughts for you.
Right.
So here you go. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Give me my talking points.
Does it work?
I think it establishes you as more of a star.
You know what?
Okay.
You know who it works for?
It legitimizes you.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that. Like, I remember seeing Diaz and Mero on like Fallon and
That's
them.
exactly what I was about to say.
You're like, oh shit,
I like these
Diaz
guys.
and Mero are actually famous, I guess.
Yeah.
They
Like,
made it.
they made
I
it.
looked at that like, yo, they fucking made it.
You know, kids, like younger kids,
Yeah.
they don't look at it like that.
They look at
They
it
do
like-
not. They're like, I don't even know what the fuck Fallon is. What's TV?
Yeah.
What channel was CBS? I don't care about this kind of shit. Do you know?
Guys, you guys are forgetting there's old people.
That's what I was
man.
just about to
I was
say.
about to say,
That
you
was
gotta
my
get
next
that
point.
soccer
No,
mom
I'm not
crowd.
denying. I'm denying. There's not denying there's old people, but those old people are not watching Diaz and Mero show.
No, I know, but
But now they will.
puts them in front of their face.
Now
I
they
don't
will.
think they
People our age?
And now they're like, wait a minute, those two hood guys just made me laugh. Like,
And
they might check out their show.
I
exactly,
don't
and
think
people
they
our
will.
age who have maybe heard of them but don't really like they don't fuck with them enough to know. When they see them on Fallon or whatever, that's still legitimizing. So they're like, oh, maybe I'll check them out. They must be big.
Yeah. Like my
I-
mom
I
knows who
don't see- I
these
don't see-
are because of it. They're on.
But your mom not
Fallon
going to
all
any
the
of their
time.
shows and not supporting any of their
No,
shit.
but they'll, it's, I'm a little older, but
Yeah.
like if somebody else is a parent who's trying to connect with their kids, like, oh my God, mom, you know D's and Mero, Bodega Boys, like
Yeah.
that type of shit. Like, I get that. You
No,
know what I'm
I
saying?
understand. I think there was a time where like being synonymous with the culture was valuable and just being like known was valuable, right? Because at that time, I think the reason why being known was valuable is because we went to movies and watched TV shows with people that were known. We weren't so much their fans, but they were known, so we trusted the product because they're known. And now, since everything's so niche, we don't trust the product because it's known. We trust the product because it's the people we fuck with, so we go do it. So it's for me, it's a waste of time to do anything that doesn't increase the support system and increase the flagrancy and increase the fan base. So when I drop the Crowdwork special and I purposely decide to do no traditional media except podcasts, I go to LA for 2 days to just do podcasts, is because that's the people that can watch that on YouTube and then go right to my thing. Like
Right to the
Hot
special.
Ones would have been perfect for me.
I'm still trying to get us on Hot Ones. I've been reaching out to Sean and those motherfuckers for a long time. Like, yo, you need us on Hot Ones. So,
Dude,
one of
but
these
that
days.
that like for me, that's a great crossover because it's people already on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's people operating in that like in these spaces, the space where you can go right from that video. Like when I did Rogan, I went people watch Rogan and then went right from there to watch the stand-up clips. That's where you want to be. If I'm doing late night and they're watching it on TV, the chances they're going to walk into their room, get their laptop up, they open their laptop, they see their email, they realize they got an email they didn't answer, they start answering the email, they forgot what they're there in the first place, and then it's over.
Well, you got to remember, back in that was the whole reason why late night shows were created, because they were like, as soon as this guy's, it was usually people on their network. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's a
oh,
promo
fuck,
tool.
fucking
Advertising, billboard.
Clooney's on ER, so we're gonna have him do fucking Kimmel for a couple of hours and be like, yo, watch the new season or whatever the fuck tomorrow.
And I
You
still
know what
think you
mean?
can gain fans of people who have heard the name Jesus and Mero would never bother to check them out. Then when they see they're doing Fallon, they're like, oh, these guys must be legit.
Yeah.
I'll check them out. And it's one night of work. Now, the one thing I would be afraid of going on a show like that is these motherfuckers, skeptics or like kind of halfway fans who start dipping in our material might be like, whoa, cancel these guys. This is not okay.
It's a great point.
That would be my fear.
It's a great point.
I remember we talked about, would you be on SNL? I completely forgot that my agent was like, do you want to audition? And I was like, maybe. And then I was like, no, I don't. Because the second you get on there, they're going to start going through everything. And no, I don't want that.
Yeah.
But if you're, Adidas and Mero don't seem like I think they used to, but now they're not going like super, super, super flagrant.
Oh no, they've definitely leaned up on the flagrancy a lot. But
And
I mean,
they've
good
always
for
known
them,
who
though.
they
get
could
it.
target.
Yeah.
Like they've been very specific about their targets. Like they're not going to they're not going to take on anything that could get them canceled. They're going to be safe in the people that they make fun of, and it's going to be light fun. It's not. That's what they do.
And good on them too, because they realize
the brand.
it,
They
and
get
that's
it.
the brand. Yeah. So
They
it's
are
like,
Twitter personified. If you could take what happens on Twitter and turn it into people, that is them, and they do it better than anybody. And they should do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to change your shit. If
Yeah.
it works, don't change it. Yeah.
And I think part of the reason they get away with the flagrancy is because whenever they're making jokes, it's like, oh, we're creating a skit. It's almost like a cartoon.
Cartoon, yeah.
And
They're
that's why they get
cartoons.
away with
I mean,
a lot of it.
I-
It's
I
easier
said
to be
they were-
But
digestible.
they also know who to go after. Like they're not
Yeah, I know,
taking
but
any
I'm-
chances in who they go after. They
But
go
I mean,
after the people you're allowed
they
to punch.
also
They're like real life
they
Beavis
also
and
do
Butthead.
like the racial stuff where it's like they're
mean, that's a
making fun
compliment.
of somebody's accent. They do that shit all the time, but because it's a skit, it's like, oh, you have to talk like the person that you're
in the
That's
skit.
true.
Yeah.
That's
It's a good
true. They
point.
detach
You
it
get
from
away with that
reality
shit
in that
all
way.
the
It's
time.
yeah. No, it's great. What else we got?
Anuj Patel asked, I think we'll just do top 1. Top 5 most annoying athletes. I think we could just do name one athlete that fucking annoys you.
Does he
And
have to
there's
be
a lot.
active or nah?
Nah.
Top of the list, Paul fucking Pierce with a bullet. Anytime,
That's a
and
good
like
one.
number 2 was like way down there, but Paul Pierce at the very top. Anytime I see that motherfucker, I'm just like, God, you are bless you. You are the fucking worst.
Paul Pierce, Akash, what do you got?
Right now, Odell's coming to my mind. Like, I know how great he is, but he just is annoying. But I don't know if that's the one. I would have to think on him more. But that was the one that kept coming to my mind is Paul Pierce. I mean, Odell Beckham Jr.
Beckham.
Just like, look, I get you're great, man, but you're just fucking annoying to me.
Most annoying athlete.
You know who was up there for a while?
Who?
But like I'm starting to come around on him.
Oh, the
Funny
whole
enough.
U.S. Women's National Soccer team.
You right about that.
The entire U.S. Women's National Soccer team. Just shut the fuck up already. It's like the fact that you get paid money at all to play girl soccer is beyond
Girls
me.
kick football.
Dude, girls kick football. It's beyond me because there is no market for it. Like they've tried to have these professional women's leagues.
There's a market for it for 1 month every 4 years.
Right. So there's no market for it, right? So it's like they have these women's professional leagues that pop up. Every one of them folds. Why does it fold?
There's no interest.
Because there's no interest. So you're out here complaining you're not getting paid enough money when you know that your sport is worth no money. Just shut the fuck up, accept it, enjoy it, go play against these countries where the women have to raise 4 kids before they're fucking breastfeeding during halftime and you're shocked that you're beating them 8-0. Yeah, because their fucking nipples are bleeding, okay? They got milk lactating all over their fucking jerseys and you're shocked that you're beating the Thai team 10-0. Just shut the fuck. They don't even let people be gay in these other countries. Where are they going to get their fucking football players from? Just be excited that you get paid at all. Just be grateful. A little gratitude goes a long fucking way. I would never step foot in the White House. All right, don't step foot in the White House. Be in the kitchen where the fuck you would be if this shit didn't exist in the first place. Dude, it's true, man. Look what the WNBA players got to do to make a living. They got to go to Siberia
year
for
round.
10 months a year. They
play
got to
all
go to
year
China.
round.
Like they got to really fucking hustle. You don't got to do shit. You get to sit here in America in your beautiful fucking home, put on your cleats once a month, and then make millions of fucking dollars, and you still bitch.
I don't think they make millions of dollars.
They don't.
I don't think so.
Thank God.
I think that's the whole reason why they.
Nobody in soccer in America makes millions of dollars.
No, they got a
Nobody.
couple guys.
They
got
got the guys from Europe that they bring over?
or even the American
Howard?
ones.
Tim
Well,
Howard?
he's
he played
over
it.
there. He's
If
over
you're
there.
good enough to play there and then you come here, we'll pay because it's like advertising. Hey, this guy
my
is
bad, my
here.
bad.
Oh,
I thought you
fucking,
meant salary. I thought you meant like overall, like Nike deals and all these things. They can make a million.
yeah.
But I understand salary probably not.
I read
Yeah,
some
yeah.
story like David Beckham.
He got a piece, fam.
Yeah, he flew fucking to Lionel Messi to offer him like some stupid amount of money to try and get him to play for the Orlando MLS team. Like some absurd amount of bread
Fam,
or some
if
shit.
you're Ronaldo or Messi, right? You guys are at the twilight of your career. Not the twilight. I mean, you're still killing it. You're still the elite soccer players, right?
But this is around the time they make that jump. Like Wayne Rooney did it.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. The both of you go this, and you say this. You go, guys, look. Guys, there is no greater rivalry in sports than you and me. We are what keeps soccer afloat in Spain. No one doesn't. I know everybody listening right now, you know nothing about soccer. Yes, I know that. But they are a international conversation. To soccer fans, you love all these Lukaku and all these other Sanchez and all these other motherfuckers. The rest of us don't give a fuck about that. We just hear Messi
and Ronaldo.
Now, you're both at the twilight of your careers. Not the twilight, but you don't have that many years of being elite. You come to America, you go on rival teams in big markets, go to New York FC and, LA Galaxy, whatever the fuck it is, and you bring that rivalry here. MLS shoots up in value and importance amongst American fans, and you guys just add another 4 years to your career. Easily Because you're not going against the elite competition.
I don't think it would. The one thing I disagree
My
with,
thing is though,
I don't think it shoots up American interest in
yeah,
soccer.
like I don't think Americans care that much about soccer. I think that's the one thing that nobody's talking about.
Let me
It's
tell
like-
you
it's
why.
like
Young people might.
Women need the equal pay as the men's team. I'm like, yo, I barely care about the men's team too.
I don't
Like,
care about
it's just
them. Get rid of
soccer,
both of
bro.
them.
Yeah, get rid of all of them.
Yeah,
But
like-
here's what I'm saying. This is why I disagree. Is that even though we don't like soccer, we play FIFA. And when we play FIFA, we play the game, the video game FIFA. When we play FIFA, we don't play with MLS teams.
Yeah.
We don't even know who's on our teams. We play it with those teams
English
out there.
Premier
Barca.
League.
We play it with Manchester City. We play it with, Madrid. We play it with these different teams.
PSG.
Boom.
Those names,
So
yeah.
we're familiar with these guys. And if the both of them come over, all of a sudden there's going to be a little bit of interest. And if they're able to do that fantastical shit out there in Europe against elite competition, imagine what these motherfuckers are going to do here.
It'd be
I'm gonna
magic
text
and
the
birds.
Cooligans.
Son, it's gonna be
I'm gonna
magic.
text the
Magic and
Cooligans what they
bird,
think.
man.
Yeah, do that. Let's holler at the and congrats
What
to the
about-
Yeah,
Cooligans.
that's
They
what
just
I was
got
about
their
to say.
show.
Word,
Yeah.
they're showing Fubo.
Yeah.
Fubo, I think the network's called. That's dope. That's a dope
Shouts to
concept,
the
man. Shout out
Cooligans.
to them.
But yeah, let's do one more and then we got to run out of here.
Brian English, is Tom Brady a real life American psycho? Basically, does he have a dark side that pushes him to have this like perfect life and
Abso-fucking-lutely.
greatness and whatever?
Absolutely.
And how dark is it? That's my
Absolutely.
follow-up.
I think, like I always think all these elite, all-time great athletes have a little bit of sociopath in them. And if there's anybody who has it the most, it's got to be this motherfucker. He's 42 years old, hasn't taken a season off. Fucking, he eats like avocado ice cream. He does all these fucking weird ass shit to keep himself young, and probably drinks like virgin's blood and shit. And like he looks younger now than he did 15 years ago, which is fucking incredible to me. Yeah, I think he has a dark side. I think he's got some bodies on him.
I can definitely see that. I just think he hides it so much better. Like Jordan,
That's what makes him a real psycho.
somebody said they met Tom Brady, and then he shook hands with every person in the room, looked at me, and I said, "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Tom." Like, yeah, I don't believe that makes him a good guy, but Jordan ain't doing that. The rest of
Jordan
these
ain't
guys
doing
are
that.
like, Kobe ain't doing that,
Jordan
and they got
ain't
that
doing
thing,
that.
but they're like, "Fuck, I don't want to fucking talk to you.
Yeah.
Like, get out of my face."
It's creepy to me.
So I'm
It's
sure
creepy
Tom
to
Brady has a
me.
dark side, but he does hide it really fucking well,
I think
man.
he's a little kid fucker, man.
Those are the.
He did kiss his little boy on the
He
mouth.
did kiss his boys on the mouth.
Yeah, but it was his
kid. Too comfortable with
I
that.
mean, it's cool. You can kiss your kid. You can kiss your kids wherever.
Wouldn't that be
but,
the greatest? Like, wouldn't that be the greatest shit ever in your mind if you're that kind of guy to get away with? Is I'm a molester. I'm a kiss kid on TV, and I'm gonna still win Super Bowls, and you're all gonna forgive me.
Yeah, it's
Nobody gonna
R.
say shit about
If there's one city that would cover it up,
It's true.
it would be Boston.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, like, I don't know if you guys saw that movie.
With the priest and shit.
Yeah, like the priests were, maybe the priest sat Tom down. They were like, listen, what's given us our superpowers over all these years? Do you know what I mean? There's one way.
It's like we all live to be like 90 years old.
Listen,
Like, there's
we
only
don't
one way
die.
to do it.
Have
No,
you
just-
seen these buildings, these cathedrals go up? Like,
You know the real power of Christ?
they're. So that's what it is. Maybe they bestowed upon him the fountain of youth. And
The
maybe
real fountain of youth.
Real talk, man.
Yo.
I mean, look at these cathedrals, right? You see these cathedrals all over Europe and all over the world, and they're these magnificent structures, and everything else around them is dog shit, right? The same people were making things back in the day. So why does the cathedral look so exquisite and beautiful and perfect, and all these other little huts and shit look like trash?
Maybe that's why all these teachers are trying to fuck these kids. These female teachers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Gotta stay
Why?
young.
That's the fountain of youth. Little
No,
boy dicks.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it makes them young. I'm saying that it allows you to like achieve great things. So like before the workers started building the cathedral, they would have to kiss the little boys. And then that made them like cut the stone even sharper and like do the stained glass even more stained or whatever you do, right? And then maybe that's what Tom is doing. He's just funneling that into football. There is an opportunity. There's great. Now, the good thing about Tom is he's just keeping it in-house, right? So he's not going to the outside kids.
He's not outsourcing yet.
He's not outsourcing yet, right? He's just like, let me make my own kids to kiss. And I'm not saying he's having sex with them. Maybe all it is a kiss.
Listen,
Maybe that's where the priest went crazy.
it's probably better than whatever the fuck Sam Darnold was kissing. Cause
Nah, Sam Darnold was out here one oak, bro.
He
He
was
got
out
these
here.
white bitches on deck, dude.
Bro.
Mononucleosis is white people's sickle cell.
Yes.
We used to talk about this. Y'all the only ones who get that shit.
You got a joke about
I've never met a
that.
black person in my life that got mono,
What the fuck is
dog.
mono, man?
What the fuck? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Anyway, man, we love y'all, dude. Keep it tight, assholes. We'll be in Australia, or Alex and I will be in Australia. Akaash and Kaz are going to hold it down next week with Eden. So make sure y'all support. If y'all in Australia, we'll see you this week, man. Keep it tight. Chuck it up when you see
this
us.
week too, man.
Yeah, some cool guests coming in, man. So we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And keep spreading the word. Keep spreading the flagrancy. Don't let these, cocksucking PC motherfuckers ruin comedy. Let's keep it strong, and we will keep it tight. Peace.